Hello, welcome back to Retake the Week. Happy Monday. Yes, there we go. Now it's right. It certainly felt really wrong about opening up the show like that. But yeah, happy Monday. Yeah, we're back again. Middle of Pro League, so I'm assuming no one will be watching this live just because I wouldn't be watching this live either. I'd have this on a second screen, just audio only, and mute the stream of the actual games that are on right now because honestly, I've tried watching some of the broadcast. It's either the broadcast is bad or I keep tuning in at exactly the wrong moment. I'm not going to lie. Because the other day I tuned in, I unmuted for like 1 second, and I got subjected to this Australian lad who was casting with Jackie, screeching about geography. I shit you not, like he was screeching about geography. So I was just like, what's going on? What the hell is going on at Pro League? But that's all lovely, that's all nice. But we'll get into it a bit more in terms of the actual Pro League event, the games, everything else in a second. Before we do that, before we even talk to Quack, who's just going to sit there politely, we got to thank the people who are most important to us, nearest and dearest to our hearts, our girlfriends. I'm joking. It's the members. Far more important. The members who get access to all the bonus content, all the nice little interviews. We've got a King's Court in the works. Hopefully I can get done in the next week or so. And yes, Krasly, that is exactly what I'm referring to. It starts off there, and it ended with a man screaming about Wollongong, or whatever the hell you call it in Australia. Strange broadcast. But yeah, members get access to all this bonus content. They support the channel. They are our favourites. We are big fans of the members. And I'm lucky, Quack. I don't know about you, but my girlfriend is a member, so when I made that joke, it actually is fine, because mine's covered. But maybe yours isn't, so you're going to get smacked up if she ever hears that section, because you didn't violently disagree as soon as I said it, so you're absolutely stuffed. But yeah, the podcast is available on streaming platforms, podcasting platforms, after we're done with it, thanks to the members paying us money, because that stuff ain't free. I was very disheartened to find that out the first time I tried to put something on Spotify. I was like, oh, there's no free way to do it. I can't just freely distribute podcasts. I guess I'll have to pay money. So thank you very much to the members for making that viable. Quack, any big articles to promote this week?
Next week there's going to be one.
Okay.
I went to a small local LAN we've had this weekend. And we've had a lot of talk about small LANs recently. It's basically decided the major race. And they're kind of in vogue in a way, and we're sort of back to this 2018-2019 level where I'm starting to feel like the tier 2 scene is starting to be a majority of like small LANs happening all the time, which is sort of what we had pre-pandemic, and we're starting to recover. So nice. So I went to this small local LAN hosted at my uni, which was really nice. It's very small. It's like 80 guests, and half of them don't even bring PCs. They go there to play board games. That's the kind of vibe it is.
Not much of a LAN.
But well, it is. It's not. It wasn't an event. They had a League of Legends competition. Like they played the final.
Okay.
There. It's like, it's tiny. I think they had 5 teams sign up total, and then they played online. And the final was my brother's team against another team of his friends. But it was so nice, and I met so many cool people. And I basically thought, hey, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to take a bunch of pictures. I'm going to talk to a bunch of people. I'm going to get some really good answers. This will be the foundation for an op-ed about why small LAN events are so important to esports and gaming and the gaming community. So that's what's happening this week. And it's like, I want to challenge myself. So I'm going to try to, it's going to be good. I shouldn't say that on the air. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And I want to flex my muscles and write something maybe even a bit more creative than just regular journalism. So that's what's happening.
First article that isn't ChatGPT written. Crazy, man.
I have never in my life, no, and I hope nobody at Fragbite has done it, but I have never. I
know you said this one would be good, so I thought maybe that's what's changed.
All of my articles are good. Go read all of my articles, but some of them are boring. And some of them are quoting other news. But yeah, no, I didn't watch it. The only English-speaking broadcast I watched. Actually, no. Okay, I did watch a bit of the ESL Pro League broadcast, just to touch on that. The only other English-speaking broadcast I watched this week was which Tony was casting, which is, we had a tier 1 event this week, but the best English-speaking broadcast all week was the one that Tony was doing. He was doing really well in that frag final. It was really cool. I
Yeah,
have to
Tony's a
note
great caster, to be honest. Let's be real. Let's give him the shout
he
out.
is great.
Banging caster.
I have to say, if Fragadelphia wasn't happening, I feel like he should have been co-casting with Exner on the B stream because like I like Darth Mike. I think Darth Mike's really good as a host. I don't think Darth Mike should be casting Tier 1 CS. I'm sorry.
I have no real opinion. As usual, I've watched most of the games this week on mute.
I love you,
The
Darth
one
Mike.
times I've unmuted, I was subjected to a nightmare. So maybe replace that Aussie guy with why not? I don't know.
Like all of the B stream casters, I think they're good. I'm sorry, I
else
didn't
better?
enjoy it that much. Tony's better. I'm sorry, he's just excellent. And Darth Mike, I love you. You should host majors, but you maybe just don't hop on the mic. Like,
Okay.
oh fuck, I've burned bridges already. Shit.
Making friends
let's
today.
get into
That's
the
the theme of the episode. I think making friends. That's what we're doing. Let's get into Pro League, all right? Now, technically, we did have our episode last week covering a lot of Stage 1, but not all of it. Well, a lot of. We'd covered like day 1, and that's about it. I didn't realize how little we'd covered. Thankfully, although Pro League was, Stage 1 was an absolute nightmare in terms of teams getting upset, teams, reaching and punching when they shouldn't be. In the end, the teams we needed to make it through made it through. You know what I mean? Like, Furia and G2 made it out, which was the big concern at one point. So let's get just a quick recap. Some of the biggest failures. I think that'll be the place to begin. The biggest failures of Stage 1. Quack, is it heroic? Again? Like, do we endlessly have to talk about heroic just being constantly terrible? We had to talk about them on the double swing, because on the double swing we had to kind of touch on Stage 1 briefly. I can't really justify the level they've shown, just in general, at this point. They're just not good enough.
Yeah, it's a failure. They had a lot riding on this event. I feel like there's one game which, like, it's a big loss, and maybe two actually, but like the biggest one in my opinion is the Gentlemates loss in the beginning. That was a direct head-to-head. Winner gets like a 3/4 swing towards the major, and the loser the other way. And they put up a fight. It's overtime on the decider, but like they needed to win that. They didn't win it. Then the 3D Max team as well. The fact they didn't really hold a candle to 3D Max, I was really disappointed by. And like, again, it's a 3-map affair. It's a 3-map affair in Astralis against Astralis, and Astralis as well. They pick Nuke as the decider after being 0-13 on it earlier in the event. That was set up to be a heroic win, which would have put them in the major, I'm pretty sure. But no.
But no.
They flop. I would say it's the biggest failure, unfortunately. But I feel like after this event as well, it might be the last biggest failure for heroic in a way. Because after this event, I feel like we're gonna have to put them down a peg in our expectations. I'm very sorry to say. I have it right here. Like, I just...
The standard was really, like, warped, wasn't it? By Tanir. Like, the Tanir edition being so successful, because especially, like, maybe even pre-Tanir when it's Nilo supposed to join the team, and you're looking at the team with Nilo, and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, you're actually kind of excited. Then Tanir comes in, and at that point, you're kind of supposed to tank an expectation. We've got problems with Nilo. In comes Tanir. Let's see what he does. What he does is make them a legit, like, top 15 to top 20 sort of team consistently, and then even borderline, like, pushing them in series against even bigger teams, bigger names, time and time again, through his individual prowess. It was insane. We kind of have that as a new bar, though. Like, when it comes to an event like this, where you have to be... What do you have to make? Like, you have to be the top 16 teams in the world. Like, you have to make it to be 16th in the world. And you get to play some teams that are very suspect, who are technically ranked ahead of you. We did expect that sort of heroic team to punch. Especially with Tanir, we'd have expected them to at least be in the 2-2 game. And depending on matchup, might go through, might not. Instead, it never felt like they had a chance in hell. They get a victory over M80, which we'll get into M80, I'm sure, in a second, because speaking of disappointments, they've been a massive one. But outside of that series, yeah, just a lot of weakness, a lot of like just mental collapses, it looked like. Nilo not really able to repeat sort of star form. Alcaran being, again, pretty competent on LAN. just seems to be a theme in his career, that he's just better on LAN. But aside from that, there's not really much positive to take from this. xCloud hasn't found the form we hoped he would. Nilo's not picked up where Tennere left off. And Alcarin's not a superstar. He's not like able to carry them through games entirely. So I just think they're lacking in a lot of different ways that we didn't expect them to be. We have discussed in the past the idea of a Swedish heroic, like if changes do come.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the changes you'd make, I mean, aside from a big upgrade at rifle in terms of xCloud's, inconsistency, the problems he's been having with his level, finding, one of the twins or someone else in the Swedish scene, I think probably would be one of the twins, really, if you want to upgrade this team in that position. Aside from that, like, there's no one trick fix. Like, there's no one swap fix. And even then, to make them Swedish, there's 2 swaps. You have to get Fuzi on top of everything else for it to be ideal. Like, this is just a pretty difficult scenario to work your way out of if you're heroic.
I wouldn't make drastic changes right now. I would hold off. There's still the rest of the fall season to play. I think there's good stuff you can get out of them. I think there's fun events they can play. I think there's a, like, at this point, you don't want to make moves too early either when you're doing something like this and you're approaching a roster window over the winter post the major, because you don't know who's going to be available. You don't know who's going to be passed up. You don't know who's going to be leaving the top teams already. I feel like Gamer Legion suffered from that. Nilo. Yeah, no. I feel like Gamer Legion suffered from that, from the shuffle we just had, because they missed the major and they made moves so early that they missed out on Grix and Molodoy, and they basically had to settle for Kersey. I'm still convinced that if Wildcard had made the Fuzi move earlier in the summer shuffle, Gamer Legion would have been interested in him. And I don't know if they would have been. 100% they would have looked into it. 100%. So, but at that point, Kersey was already signed. As far as we know, Kersey's contract was already signed by the time Fuzi was even informed that he was going to be gone from the team. So that's tricky, of course. I would say about Heroic, I don't think it's necessarily just that Tennere is gone. I think just the shuffle as a whole really set them back in almost every way. Because they didn't replace Tennere's firepower, unfortunately. Nilo's talented, but so far he hasn't shown that. They wanted to replace xCloud, and they had to go back on that after losing Tennere. They wanted to replace Sunpias with Grix, weren't able to do that. I don't think Alcarin is going to be good enough to do that either, fully. You're going to need something different here. You're lost Saw. So Tobis, so far, I don't get the feeling that he has been able to replace Saw. There's so much lost here, and like that, I don't feel like that shuffle was particularly successful. Still work to be done. I feel like they could play out the fall season, see what happens. But in the end, the idea that I've had is that like a Susp Fuzi double move from Wildcard to Heroic, it like all of the stars are aligned because they're in the same team. They both have contract situations that they are unhappy with. Both of them. One of them requested to be benched to be transfer listed, and the other one was transferred but then called back and has been very vocal about the fact that he didn't want to do that. And both of them, I think Fuzi is an upgrade over Alcarin. I feel like in a way that sort of replaces Tennere, where you now have that player who can win you games single-handedly, because Fuzi can do that. I don't think Alcarin can do that, but Fuzi can. And you also get Susp, who I think is similar to xCloud, but more consistent. And he also has that upper end. Like, he can also just take over games. And third thing, the added benefit of racism, where you can have five of the same flag. So much better chemistry. You have Susp and Nilo reunited as well. Old teammates. How much better can Nilo get when he's playing with Susp, who was his teammate on probably his most successful team previously to Heroic? Yeah. That Metasport roster with both of the twins, Jaquinho and CTR. How much better can Nilo get if he's in that environment? A lot of these things, like, yes, it should happen. It should absolutely happen. So if I was a Heroics manager, I would look into making that move over the winter. Maybe even sooner, now that, Wildcard are also out in the major. They don't have anything. Honestly, if they wanted to be rid of Fuzi, now they can just do it again. Like, unfortunately. But yeah. Yeah. This event was a failure. But I still like Heroic. I still cheer for them. I still think They're gonna be good. I like all the pieces. I like all the players, but my expectations have gone from the spring season expectations, which was this is a team which could sneak into like being close to major playoffs in Austin. For a lot of the spring season, I felt like there's a chance that they end up in that like 2-2 game going to the playoffs. I don't think you and I had any doubt really that Heroic were gonna be at least top 24, maybe even top 16 in the major.
That was, realistically, that's what I'm saying. That's what was set by that spring season in terms of the way they were playing, the players they had driving impact. Now, obviously, as soon as things changed, we knew. Like, as soon as even just Night of xCloud happens, like, oh, okay, this might be a problem in terms of getting the right players playing the right way. Like, that's going to maybe cause some issues. And then, losing some players, having to replace some players. And the coach, quite importantly. Like, these are things that are going to affect them. But we still, top 24, make the major. Still felt not just realistic, but not, I think, assured isn't the right word either, but felt like a realistic target or goal for this team. And the fact that they've come this short is a bit of a shock. Other news for other picks, I guess, for biggest disappointment.
Well, I have one for biggest stage 1 failure. Kingt, he was wrong about. I'm just going to celebrate this minor victory for
it's not even a victory.
Fact that Kingt was wrong.
There's no victory
anytime
to be
you were
had.
wrong, anytime you're wrong, it's a victory for me. I asked last week in last week's episode, can G2 lose to Gentlemates? Is it possible? Even if Alex outcalls them, Martinez outops them, Mobs shits the bed. Only 2 out of 3 of those things happen. So Pius was good, but G2 still lost.
Okay.
Fraud.
Right, back to things that are productive, useful, and worthy of our time. Yes, I got one projection wrong. Quack, the projectionless remains untouched, and also unheralded, unlauded, and unrespected.
This is the trick.
Okay. M80, the actual topic for this section, I think. My lord, did they come up short. Like, some of the losses they took, I just shook my head. I couldn't say anything about it. The opening game lost to ENCE. Given the way M80 have matched up with legitimate top 10 teams, just an underwhelming close, especially on a map of Ancient, where they've usually been incredibly productive, successful. Lake just disappears, really. Like, has no CT side impact, gets absolutely dominated in the T side exchanges for map control. They've just underwhelming. This is the flattest I've seen them play since their return to real lands. Like, they took a massive hiatus from them just because of their ranking position and I think a slight refusal to try to understand VRS and cheese it properly in order to attend events earlier. It took them to Blast London, really, to actually get there. London was fantastic. Massive step backwards at this event. I don't know what to blame it on beyond just the key players who usually step up for them, not quite stepping up. I think Lake, obviously, the biggest impact player, is the one we have the easiest time talking about in terms of he's the most obviously impactful on this roster. He just sucked. That's the deep analysis right there. Lake just sucked, and M80 fell apart because of it. Because as much as I still respect Slacks in terms of the performances he's given us, he's not the thing that drives them to wins explicitly. It's a combination of Lake's openings and then Hext, Swisher, these guys just closing out like perfectly. In the end, none of that really happened. Like, Swisher and Hext were mid to fine. Lake was dreadful. Winning formula just out the window.
Yeah. I don't know what I would have expected out of M80 really here, in terms of actual finishing position. But from the games they played, I think we said on the show, M80 probably should have won that heroic game, like ahead of the game, because the game was happening the same day we were recording, and I had the feeling that like M80 are probably slight favorites in that game, and they get kind of dumpstered, to be honest. With they got
absolutely destroyed, which made no sense. Like, watching it, it's like, what the hell's going on with this roster?
Yeah, even before that, the loss to ENCE is maybe the big one, because you get the Furia elimination series. crazily enough, Fury are number 1 on the VRS at the moment. But more importantly, Fury are actually good. So I can see that. It's fine. I'm not gonna be up in arms about that. But it's that ENS loss is really disappointing, really, because ENS shouldn't even have been there. They came in last minute. There's no prep, like 100. There's no prep for either of these teams to play each other here. It is literally just going out, and the fact that you go and get destroyed by Pody is not exactly inspiring for me. So yeah, that was a big one for me. I don't think ENS are particularly good. Is basically the bottom line for this.
Well, the players
I think they're yeah,
look,
they're a step below
really
East Pro League
the
in the first place. So yeah,
like the reason they lose that Ancient, it's not even Pody. Like Pody farms Dust 2, farms Mirage. Ancient, not really an AWPer's paradise if you're not dynamic, mobile, really like combat effective as an AWPer. If you're not that kind of AWPer, you're not going to be that good. And Pody's been more of a set line, take the pick kind of AWPer. The fact that they lose Ancient comes down to you got Rigoned. You got Rigoned. Like, you know how to play Ancient. You know where the key contact points are. You had to outduel Rigon, and you couldn't. So, as much as I want to give credit to Pody for the series performance, entirely worthy of praise as well, I would put a lot of the sort of the blame, I put a lot of the reason for this result being the way it is, just on these key M80 players underperforming, not showing up. I mean, Sin had a bit of a merged overall, both calling and fragging, but the biggest problems I think are if Lake is going to be taking that volume of fights, those important fights, and disappoint that badly, yeah, you're just going to struggle. You're 100% just going to struggle.
Yeah, you are. So yeah, it's tricky for them.
Anyway, let's get on to some other topics, because that's stage one. Stage one happened a long time ago. Let's talk about stage two, or the main event, because we have stage one and then we're just done. The favourites of this event, certain favourites, two of the biggest favourites, one of which is the #1 team in the world according to certain rankings, HLTV, cough cough, and recently VRS until Furia took it, got massively upset straight out the doors. So one of them I was fine with, in a circle, facing Mongols in that 0-1 game, beating them, I was pretty happy with. Vitality in their first matchup, losing to Gentlemates, was just cringe-inducing. Really just... ZywOo, I don't know, man. Like, did no one play the Poke Flute? Like, were you still asleep? Like, the fuck was that? How do you open up your event this poorly? I don't know. But they absolutely got it wrong. Like, there's no two ways about it. Vitality underperformed across the board, but the fact that their superstar player of the year contender was just missing is a real problem. I watched the POV back, especially, I think I watched the Nuke one. Yeah, it was Nuke. I'm just watching ZywOo and I'm like, how does he seem just to be always in the wrong place? And always in a place that's just not going to be very productive. Like, he's with the pack, back of the pack, looking for lines, looking for angles. Nothing's ever presented. By the time he gets a fight, he's just dead. Like, nothing just... It's not like he had the read he usually has on the game. So I think Vitality just came into this game completely cold, but also, most importantly, ZywOo came into the game completely cold and just got absolutely wrecked. I mean, I know we give Gentlemates a lot of credit. I saw one tweet say, perfectly encapsulates them, one time a year for about a week, Gentlemates are the best team in the world. I guess this was that week. Alex got everything right. Sorsol popped the fuck off. Martinez was the best player on the server at times. He was, especially on Nuke. I guess when all of that goes right, you're going to be able to beat almost anyone. But considering DAWG ends the series 25-29, Nuke, he just doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's like the hard entry of the team. They were able to win the game, not just on initial tactic, initial opening, perfect flashbang, but just throughout the round. Every stage of the round, Gentlemates were able to outplay Vitality, which just seems so absurd to see, like so absurd to say. Vitality should not be, even on their worst day, outplayed in every single like facet of the game, and that's really what they were by Gentlemates. 2-0, embarrassing loss. How much of it did you watch?
The end of it, basically, when I saw that mates were winning, because I were not planning to watch it. I thought it was going to be a Vitality win, as we all did. Yeah, tricky. It's a bit of a French derby almost. I think that
It's just
what Gentlemates are French org. Like they are very French.
They're a French org started by someone who used to work at Vitality, but like that's so disconnected from what the players are that I don't ever care.
No,
you know?
The thing is, I know Apex cares a lot about this. He cares a lot. There is like a genuine little rivalry there between like some of the Vitality players and Gentlemates, and the other way around as well. Like I think that was pretty clear from what they said in the interview following that like it, you know, for them it was definitely like there is a Vitality M8 rivalry in a way, and I think that might play a part. I think that might play a little part in how that worked out. It's interesting for sure, but I didn't see much of it. Zybo keeps losing, I guess. No, okay, but Vitality, they at this point, I feel like I would have expected them to start turning the down. Like it's overblown sometimes. Some people like to make them out as being complete dog shit right now. I don't think that's true whatever, like at all. But there has been a significant downturn, which honestly just keeps going. You know, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about like where would you bookend the Vitality era? Like how bad do they need to get? Like how many missed performances do they need to bookend this? And not to take a stance on that, but it's getting further and further away in a way where they're definitely not the best team in the world right now. They just had a month-long break and they go straight into it by losing to Gentlemates. You know, I would have expected them to come back stronger. I would have expected them to 3-0 this stage and honestly maybe take home the event, which at the moment they very well still could.
They are 2-1 now. Like they did just beat Hotu 2-0. Yeah. They're back up to 2-1. And yes, the downfall of Vitality has been slightly overblown. Just it's about contrast. You know, it's all about contrast. They went from winning everything to this season.
Haven't won anything.
Obviously, they haven't won anything, but they finished Cologne top 4, Bounty top 4, EWC 4th, so top 4. I hate that because there's a third place decider. It doesn't just say 4th. It just says nothing. For some reason on the events page. And then Blast Open London 2nd. Like, oh no, you know what I mean? Like if you're a top team, that's a pretty impressive run. You made top 4 at worst in every event so far in the season, and even have made a grand final again that you lost in 5 maps. Yes, we expect them to be better, and we don't consider them to be the best team in the world because we also don't consider anyone to be the best team in the world right now. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, it's very open. It's very open. I'm sort of, but at this point, I'm starting to slide them into like they are obviously that obvious top 4 level team. Pretty much always, which is sort of in Mouse territory, because that's what we expect from Mouse. We expect Mouse to finish top 4, make the odd grand final, and obviously they're not similar, but performance-wise, it's starting to look a bit similar. Yeah,
this is 4 events. You know, 4 events. They've come back 4 events.
Oh, yeah,
Mouse-esque for 4 events. If they go back to winning again, it's like, you know, that's a period.
I'm not making it an argument. I'm just saying that
no. But I'm saying in terms of it's not impossible for them to go from here and keep winning. Like, you know, to have taken a
not at all,
unperformed. Just to expect them to return to dominance in the way we saw them before would be unrealistic. But the bigger of the teams that have taken the bigger road bump or bump in the road that we've seen, really, let's talk about it. The Mongols. The Mongols started off with a loss to Hotu 2-1. Look, I know Hotu are fun and all, but I said it on the double swing prior to stage 2. I don't see them making a run in stage 2. Like, I expect them to not necessarily outright go 0-3. They might still win some games. They do play nice CS. They do have this pretty strong roster. As far as for tier 1.5 to tier 2 players, there's no outright weak point. You know, there's no player I go, oh, you obviously would replace this guy on this team. Like, I'd love it. I'd give them a chance if they didn't have this guy. Instead, no, they're all pretty solid players. Like, the worst in the team, maybe Kadeo? I think Kadeo's solid for the level they're usually playing at. Just at this event, you know, maybe he's a step behind, but he's not exactly particularly bad in terms of his rating, his performance, or anything else. He's just the worst on this team.
He's not a load-bearing. Yeah, he's not a load-bearing player either. You can be fine with that. You can be fine with a bit of a Kadeo underperformance. In this
even then, he's barely underperformed. Like, really.
Yeah.
Stage 1, he's fine. Stage 2, I mean, they've lost 2 games 2-0 now that were really one-sided, and his performance in those was obviously forgettable. But Hotu, just by themselves, don't have that outright weak point. Yeah, stage 1, he's a 114, you know, and that might be your worst player. I mean, he's higher rated than Duke Visura in stage 1, who's typically, you know, praised for his performances. So yes, AA, Norbert was supposed to replace Kadeo, kind of, but then Lampada can't travel, I think, or something, and so Lampada's not being able to play. So that's why AA, we have Norbert and Kadeo. I never understood, firstly, why Norbert would come in for Kadeo instead of coming in for Lampada, who's kind of meh. But yeah, this is the reality of the roster that's playing this event. They're pretty impressive. But all that being said, all that nice little kudos, no weak link really on this team. You should have lost to the Mongols. There's no reason for you to lose to the Mongols. I mean, this Mongol side comes into this event #1 rated on HLTV. Probably the odds-on favourite to win or at least make the final. They're now 0-2, but they start with this loss where Norbert looks like the best player in the series. Which, Senzu, come on. You know, Norbert's the best player in that series. Ancient, map 3. The Mongols usually have pretty decent Ancient side. Am I forgetting something about them? Like, I don't expect them to be a team that takes losses to surprise teams on Ancient, but man, did everyone not named Senzu underperform on that map. Overpass as well. Hotu's pick. They disappoint again. So I'm just curious, because after this loss, I'm thinking they go to the Inner Circle game. I'm kind of liking Inner Circle. You know, they gave Spirit a great run. I'm thinking, yeah, Inner Circle can give Mongols a game. Maybe they can take a map here, build from 0-2 and go back to 2-2. No, they just straight 2-0 the Mongols. Straight 2-0 the Mongols. That's when things start looking dire. Because in that game, Senzu flops. Senzu fails. If he's disappointing me, like, I'm used to Techno 99% of the time being bad, right? That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm used to 910 being all over the shop. I'm not used to seeing Senzo just outright terrible. And he was. He disappeared entirely. Like, Davu was the star of the show in map 2. Map 1, Inner Circle just across the board played better. You know, we've had a really impressive level out Fleerax this entire time, which is great. But he's not exactly rampaging, taking over the server, hitting all the crazy flicks. Like, when he's on your screen and he sees an opponent, he's going to hit the shot. And I credit him with that consistency. I really like what I've been seeing. But he's not exactly been taking over games. So the fact that Mongols just can't find a way to beat this team on either map, Dust 2 or Mirage, maps they've played incredibly well over the last year, I think is shocking. I don't know about you, but I'm worried. Going into a game with Gamer Legion, who Gamer Legion have been, like, bad for the last 4 months. They've been struggling a lot.
Yeah.
They've gone through so many roster changes. I still not. They should win 2-0. As soon as Game Legion take a map, I'm placing a bet on Game Legion to win the entire series, because this Mongol side looks weirdly mentally just gone.
Mongols GL is a game we had a lot at the start of the spring season, and with a lot I mean twice. But it was a matchup which played out quite interesting, because Game Legion were quite high. Mongols were still winning pretty comfortably. In 3 series, Gamer Legion have never won a map against Mongols in 2025, or ever, because that's the only times they played each other. It should be a 2-0 for Mongols. And as you say, but like at this point, you have to open the door for it. I think they win this. I think GL go 0-3. I'm not particularly impressed by GL at the moment, unfortunately. I don't think Mongols make it out of this Swiss stage, though, if I'm honest. Because at this point, you have so many dangerous teams. Like, if Inner Circle upset Furia here as well in the 1-1 round, like, if Gentle Mates are also dangerous, there's a chance Navi go down into this bracket as well. all of that is going to be dangerous for Mongols because 3D Max beat Navi just last time they played in like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that Mongols have a decent chance of facing like Navi, Furia, and like I said, even Gentle Mates. They are kind of dangerous. They're a team which I think, considering Mongols' form so far, it would just make sense they do the three-peat of losing to all three of the, upset teams in the same bracket. So that's where I'm really worried. Even in the 2-2-1 as well, like you have so many good teams. Like the 2-0 bracket right now with Mouse, Falcons, Spirit, and G2. Then you also have Vitality and Aurora in the 2-1 bracket. You're gonna have 2-2 is gonna be really stacked, and the form Mongols have shown so far, you are gonna have trouble in that 2-2 game if you even make it there. So I'm worried about that. I'm not at this point. Considering what they've shown, I don't think they're gonna make it out. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how Senzu just disappears in the inner circle game because he more and more over 2025 he started to warm up and warm into the star performances that he's capable of. Like he is one of the naturally. I think what we found over the past few years is that Senzu is one of the most freakishly mechanically talented players we have. I think he's one of the guys who can stack up even to like Donk. Like if, there's only a few players who I think are that talented, and Senzu might be up there. He's ridiculously talented. And the fact he just kind of disappears against Inner Circle it's a step back, because previously his problem was like playoff performances. It was regular inconsistency. He sort of worked through that. They made the major final. They won the Esports World Cup. We were starting to think that Senzu was one of the best players of 2025. He's good against Hotu, but then he absolutely gets dumpstered by Inner Circle. That's not a good look. That's not looking very good. And you're going up against GL. GL don't have really anybody who is going to take over that game. PR is good, but he's not gonna 50 bomb that game. So Senzu is gonna have to take over that game to win it, I think. And if he doesn't, it's a real off event for him. So yeah, it's we'll see what happens there. Also, I didn't even consider this. You also have Astralis and FaZe. Both of those are losable teams for Mongols with what they've shown so far, I think. And one of them is going to be in that 1-2 bracket.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose to Astralis, I'm going to be so
Astralis
weirded out. Like that's a really
grim.
bad team right now.
Astralis are looking really grim, but you're still facing Hooksy. You're still facing Device and Stare, who is in stage 1. He was really, 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 really good. He was really, really, really on it. Then you have Yabi and Magisk, yeah. But like,
yeah, it's not exactly a deep team, is it? That's the problem. Like we've talked about Astralis a few times in terms of their flaws, right? Their problems. But let's think about it this way. If the Mongols don't make it out of the groups here, right? They don't make it out of this Swiss. They came in ranked number 1 on HLTV.
And VRS.
And VRS, were they VRS number 1? I thought you were talking about
They
Fury
were VRS number 1. They were VRS number 1. After losing to Inner Circle, they dropped to number 3, overtaken by Falcons and Furia. And that's your top 3 right now. Furia number 1, Falcons number 2. This is what happens when all of our top teams don't play anything for a month.
Yes, and then also, for some reason, lose to absolutely everyone and anyone. Just the amount of upsets we've seen here. But yeah, they are... If they take that loss, I feel like we're back to the Mongols we used to complain about, The Mongols that were too up and down, too inconsistent. You never know who you're going to actually get a good performance out of. Can Mazinho step up this time to make up for Senzu disappearing? Can 910 have a god tier game to make up for Techno dying 35 times for no reason? Like there's always been that problem in the past that we thought we were done with, We thought we were absolutely done with it. But instead, we're still very much there. Right.
Yeah.
One of the favorites I think we need to touch on that isn't on the graphic, but just briefly need to talk about. Furia. What's our read on them right now? Because I've had a lot of people have a lot of different takes on Furia recently. Some people think they play the best tactical CS, they have the best XX, and on top of that, they have very strong style play, and that makes them one of the more legit, dangerous sides right now. I've also seen you know, people have their doubts because of just some of the games they've been able to lose. The fact that they can't beat G2 and G2 have all these problems is, they're not that great tactically and people don't believe in their individuals, yet they still lose to G2 again. Like, what is your read on Furia right now? Because that G2 loss would have been a bit of a speed bump for people who had Furia as their sort of maybe number 4 team, number 3 team. Like, some people have them really high up in their esteem. Like, what was your takeaway from that loss?
I have a hard time putting them anywhere right now based on what has happened here at ESL Pro League. At the same time, they're sort of making work of the games that they definitely should. In a way, there is still that shock HO2 loss, but like you said, it was in a way almost predictable that they would lose to HO2 there.
Yeah, just one.
It's a shock
coming
loss.
into a game against a nobody team that's like 60th in the world. You're not going to be as prepped. You're not going to be ready for it. I did expect that upset, but they still went 3-2, right? They didn't exactly go 3-1.
No, they also lost to Legacy, but that's also a very domestic matchup.
At some point, you've got to be better than that. I'm sorry.
You have to.
If you're like the number 4 team, number 3 team in the world, you've signed 2 guys who are not Brazilian. Why is there still this? And it's an expression Brazilians come down. Why is there this monkey on your back? Like still somehow like the domestic teams can just beat you. Like you should be better than that. Like Legacy didn't even make it here.
They make they make it work against Fluxo. They make it work against the M80. They make it work against Bait, which between HO2, Fluxo, Legacy, and M80, Bait are a step above that, I think, and they still make that game work. They beat 3D Max in the opener as well. That's like 3D Max are their variance is so high. Like we say, they can lose to anybody. They can also kind of beat anybody. So it's good to make that game work as well. G2 losses, like I don't take big takeaways from that game, to be honest. I feel like Furia need to prove themselves again. They have Inner Circle today. They need to win that, I think, and then they need to prove themselves in that 2-1 bracket, because that's where you're gonna have your Falcons, your Mouses, your Spirit, or G2, Vitality are there as well now, Aurora, and it's like I'm also not hugely bothered about it, because I feel like this is overall it's still a step forward for Furia over this season and over the past few weeks, from taking that first S tier trophy as a big stepping stone. I think we talked about it then. I think it was very beneficial that they did it at an event where these absolute top teams weren't attending, because at some point for Furia, the next development, the next step forward was to just win something, and now they've done that. I think they can afford to find themselves here at the ESL Pro League and try to finish strong for the major. I'm not instantly throwing them up into where I expect them to always beat G2, where I expect them to always beat some of these other teams. So yeah, the upset losses are bad, but I'm interested to see how the rest of this Swiss stage goes. If they take many more upset losses, if they lose to Inner Circle, then I'm sort of worried, and then I'm sort of feeling like, what a fluke. But if they carry on and they can sort of make it through this, they can maybe at least be competitive against some of the other top teams, then I think they've still gone forward over the last month or so, which is sort of where I place them.
Okay. Basically, to summarize, you're not really in that hype that a lot of people have. There's this sort of cloud of this aura of hype that people have for like Furious, like, oh, Furia, they could be coming back up, coming to this like sort of this point of being a top team again. You're not quite there.
I think
you're not quite talking about them for like a top 2 team, are you? They
took a step towards it, and I remember when that win happened, we were talking about what the I had a Steam message and I completely lost my train of thought. We were talking about how they were sort of entering that sort of top 5 conversation next to maybe Aurora and Navi, but then G2 also won an event, and now that top 5 conversation is like 10 teams. So it's very much in flux right now. I think they're still in it. I think it's quite obvious that they have the pieces to get there, and they've shown they can win an event. I'm not up there where I'm thinking that Furia should win any event they attend, unless like as long as one of these other teams are attending. I feel like there's they have a chance, but like it's gonna be tricky for them, and it's gonna be something they need to prove. But they can. Like I'll also give credit to like if a team loses to Furia, I'll still be like that's a solid team. It's Furia are a solid team. Like the Falcons lost to Furia in I think it was Fisher. Solid loss. I don't massively blame Falcons for losing that Furia game in playoffs. So yeah, but I feel like they need to make work of Inner Circle today.
Yeah, that's a big win you need to find there, because Inner Circle, sure, they are a massive underdog, but they have taken down some real teams here. They looked really just comfortable in stage one. Like they're a team, they're an upstart team, I guess the best way to talk about them. And we're going to talk about them a little more now, because we're going to get into some of these underdog teams, specifically the wins they've had, these dogs, these two big ones, obviously Inner Circle and Hotu. Those two have been the talk of the town, as it were. But Gentlemates, I think, also probably deserve mention here as well. They have just gone down to the 1-2 pool after a loss to Aurora, and so have Hotu after a loss to Vitality. And there's a good chance Inner Circle join them. But this isn't just about this event, their run, just about these teams in general. Where do you believe they can sort of end up? How far do you think they can go? Like, also, which one of these do you think is the most legit of the runs? Like, what's your takeaway on from these sort of underdog performances?
I kind of have to give it to Hotu. On a hunch, I would just give it to Hotu, but it might also because I think they have that
give
really
them what?
the edge in terms of which one of them is the more legit.
Okay.
I sort of have to give it to them because I think they have that solid foundation we talked about before. They have Mo in the back. They have Norbert, who is pretty underrated. I think, or at least prior to this event, was pretty underrated because he was considered this, washed up X versus pro player. But he can still frag. He can still frag just like he did on Winstrike and K23 back in the day. I think he was on Winstrike. Seaman, if nothing else.
Simon, please.
That's sort of. Yeah, it would 100% be Seaman if you asked the Russian.
Please don't. Don't ask the Russians on this one.
Simon is a name. Simon is a name.
I don't care.
Who did you lose to? Simon. Oh, who's he?
Well, firstly, gaming, but also, secondly, we're just not calling him that. Like, I'm sorry.
Simon Gaming. He named the team after himself. Like.
Yes, he did.
No, okay. It's So I'd give it to Norbert or to Hotu because I feel like when you have that, and also they have Frontalis as well. I'm impressed by Frontalis. I think Frontalis proved a lot of people wrong going from that Hesta time where everybody was thinking this guy is like. Do you remember the radar cheats accusations? Imagine, like, remember Gamer Legion lost to Hesta, and they were so hard on this. Like, they were all like, these guys are 100% cheating. Frontalis is 100% cheating. There's no way they're not cheating when they lost in some qualifier or something. They are at the same ESL Pro League stage right now, or two of them even. Like, can you imagine what that must be like in the green room? Like, ZTR running into Frontalis? I'm sure there's been a conversation at some point. But no, proving a lot of people wrong. That's all. Inner Circle is like, we know they're good. I think we talked about this in the pre-show. They probably could have been, maybe even should have been at the major, but with the transition with the org, they weren't really able to play all of these LANs that a lot of other teams played to sort of farm the VRS system, as you need to do to qualify for the major. But in a way, I feel like they're gonna hit the ceiling in a weird way, and it has nothing to do with the big star players. Because, as we said, somebody like Dawu is absolutely going to be a tier 1 talent for years to come if things go right for him. But at some point I sort of have to see like, okay, there's got to be a limit to how far Onyx can outcall other tier 1 teams. There's got to be a limit to what Knifey and Cairn can do game to game to game to game against tier 1 talent, what Flyrax can do against a good Opper. And especially with their coach missing, he's not here. They have Kane behind them. As much as JR is like, Kane has been the guy who's been around with them on LANs and stuff. I'm pretty sure JR is the guy who does most of the work online. He is the head coach. Kane is, I don't even think he's on Inner Circle is the thing. I think Kane is still with TNL. I don't think he moved along. But like, because he was working with the team on LANs and stuff, he just sort of keeps doing it, I guess. So there I sort of see like, there's a risk that they sort of stagnate if they keep showing up to these lands. At this point, they're not going to keep showing up to these lands. I don't think there's a single tier 1 land for the rest of the year they even can play, because all the invites are already out. All the there are no qualifiers. So we're just going to keep seeing them in smaller lands and online play for the rest of the year. But like, if we were to see them keep competing in tier 1, I think we would see them hit a wall sooner than we would HOTU, in a weird way. It's maybe my hunch.
All right.
Where do I think they place? I don't think Inner Circle make it out of the group. I think HOTU are seemingly eternally screwed over by seeding, because at this point they've played Mongo, Spirit, and Vitality. It's basically set up for them to play Furia in the next game, if Inner Circle win, or maybe Navi if 3D Max win. So, and they're gonna have to take some of those teams on in the 2-2 bracket if they make it there as well. So maybe they won't make it out, unfortunately, but I hope they do. I hope both of these teams make it up. I love these upsets and really challenging the top layer with new tier 1 or new up and comers from tier 2.
Yeah, so I don't share your optimism for HOTU. I don't really have that much faith in them long term, just because they are, they are a team that rely on too many different things to be good. And there's no one thing that I can point out on this team that's actually great. I'm not a Norbert believer. I don't think anyone who's sensible actually is. Like, this isn't magically Norbert is now a star rifle in tier 1. I don't think that's actually the thing at all. So I'm not really that big a believer in the team. I also don't think their calling is particularly reliable. Like, I don't see them as a team that are particularly well called, that have particularly great like mid rounding. Unlike Inner Circle, unlike Gentle Mates. I think both those teams are better called teams than this HOTU side. And it's not about out-calling the other IGL. It's more about just calling a good side for your team.
Yeah.
And Inner Circle have an IGL who understand their team. He's been with them for a little while. He's been getting better as time's gone on, as I've been watching him. He is also 20. Not exactly very experienced and very veteran IGL. It's not like he's reaching his ceiling anytime soon in terms of what he can figure out, what he can anti-strat, what he can actually put forward. I think Inner Circle are the better of those two teams. Better of those two specifically. Then against Gentle Mates, you've always got the factor of Gentle Mates, by hook or by crook, find a way. They have a really strong leader who's been doing it forever. They've got players like Mopos who, for some reason, can just win games against the best teams. We've seen them do it for years now. Despite not being able to do it consistently and quite often falling short in the qualifiers, falling short against lower level sides, online especially, they are still, a very dangerous roster. So I do think if I had to rank these three teams in terms of which one I expect to be good for the next sort of 6 months, Inner Circle, Mates, HOTU is just where I am at. Like, I do think
Inner Circle over Mates. Because I kind of dismissed Mates because I was like, yeah, these guys are probably going to hang around the top 20 mark pretty eternally.
Well, they don't. That's the thing. They don't typically. They play very well for a bit. They hang around the top 20. They then struggle because they're not consistent online. They also aren't good enough to be consistent in the LAN play they get. They fall off a bit. Usually a player leaves, tries to do something else for a bit. And eventually it reforms and they start, oh my God, we can do it again quickly. And then, oh no, it falls apart again. And it's just this eternal, just sort of sine wave of success and failure. Inner Circle, I don't see that collapse coming anytime soon. Like, I don't see them falling off anytime soon. And they are so talented in terms of the rifle play especially. Like, I don't think there's a chance Knifey just becomes a bad rifler. He's been a really good one for too long, and he's been playing well at these events. Davu is probably the next best Ukrainian rifler. Like, as in he will be at some point soon, just known as the best Ukrainian rifler. He is the must-have on your team. NPL, sorry. Kensizor, sorry. Whoever the hell else who was in that conversation. Bit, don't care. Davu will overtake at some point. Like,
damn, all right, yeah.
Oh, if he keeps playing like this, am I wrong? Like, if Bit is just an eternal 115 rated oscillating fucking mess, of course, I think
Yeah.
a Davu who plays like this can overtake him. That's not a ridiculous assumption. So, no, I do think Inner Circle are here for the long run. They are one of the big rising teams. Yeah, Vondas, let's just hope Ken has enough mice.
Yeah, I think you're right. You might have convinced me here that Inner Circle go above. I'm not sure about Gentlemates, and the fact is, because of facts and logic, Gentlemates are playing one more Tier 1 LAN in 2025, which is like fucking playoffs are realistic here. They're playing Saw are here, Betboom are here, Heroic are here, FlyQuest are here, Legacy are here, Fnatic are here, Bait are here, NIP are here.
Bucharest, right?
Yeah, MIBR, Pain, Gamer Legion. There is the only team which I would rely on consistently beating Gentlemates here is Aurora, and even that is not fucking guaranteed. Gentlemates, it's not out of this world. They play the fucking final in this event, so for them,
I mean, legally, as a team attending, I have to concede that they could play the final. I think you're forgetting the natural progression of things. This is Gentlemates peaking. We're on the downturn, in my estimation. Based on everything we've seen from Gentlemates in the past, well, especially this core, I don't see them being particularly impressive at this event. I mean, sure, there's some layup wins who are higher seeded, cough, Heroic, although they might not be higher seeded by VRS, they're just higher ranked on HLTV. There are some bogeyman losses waiting for them. Like, they're just not going to be that good.
The unfortunate facts and logic argument I'm trying to be here is that
6 months window as well is what I've tried to build up. Like 6 months, who do you think will be the best? And you're telling me because they play one more event in 2025, they'll be the best team?
No, I'm saying they will be quite significantly higher ranked. There's nothing Inner Circle can play to displace Gentlemates having 2 wins in the Bucharest Swiss stage, ranking wise, unfortunately. And it's going to be, I think it's probably going to be quite wide. I think Gentlemates are going to end the year inside the top 20, I think. Here and there, depending on how the major shakes out. It really depends on who wins and who loses. And Inner Circle are probably going to sit somewhere around 30, unfortunately, because they're not playing the major, where 32 teams are probably going to end up higher ranked than them on both rankings. They're not playing Chengdu, they're not playing Bucharest, they're not playing Blast Rivals, probably. I guess technically one of the two could get a wildcard invite for Blast Rivals. Maybe they just really love...
make playoffs here. They'll get invited to Blast Rivals. Don't worry. When they make playoffs at Pro League, it's okay.
There's no. The invite to Blast Rivals is only 4 VRS invites, which is going to be Mongols, Furia, Vitality, Spirit, unless we're talking about 20 teams need to decline. The other 4 invites for Blast Rivals are regional wildcard invites, so they just pick somebody, which is bullshit.
It's happening.
It's bullshit. They have 1 European wildcard invite. Do you think they pick Inner Circle?
Yes, they'll do it. They'll do it anyway.
Falcons exist. FaZe exists. G2 exists.
Who watches these teams? Never heard of them. They're definitely not already mentioned in as many titles, thumbnails, and tags as possible. Go off. Never heard of these guys.
I think I just listed the 4 teams that are in the thumbnail, more or less.
Pretty much. Yeah. So those are the dogs I'm believing in. I still believe that the rankings is not what I asked about. I still ask who's going to be a better team in 6 months, but whatever.
But when
Quack found a way to offload the responsibility of making a pick and letting the ranking do something for him.
In 3 months' time, all right, when the year ends, if you're going to put Inner Circle above Matey, you're going to have to displace the rankings by at least 10 places. And you're going to have to support that argument based on Mate playing more games at a higher level than Inner Circle. Unfortunately, that's the truth. So that's just going to be a very subjective thing.
NIP were 170th. I had them as a top 30 team. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can suck a dick.
I'm just saying.
I'm not asking you about the rankings. I'm asking you about your opinion on the team.
I'm just saying. I'm not sure I would be able to make that argument because I just trust the rankings too much. Not entirely, but more than you. So if you're able to do it, and if you're able to do that at year's end, that's impressive. But I just think
it's not impressive.
When we get to the end of the year, you are going to look. We'll see at the end of the year.
It'll be so easy. But yes, those are the underdogs. And yeah, we've had a few others that were in this stage, technically. I guess, who were in the underdog section of the double swing. We talk about Gamer Legion, talk about Astralis, but many of them they've not been very impressive at all. They've not been impressive at all. So I can't really justify any time for them.
It's a really stacked Swiss stage. I wouldn't expect them to do well there. It's
an awesome Swiss stage in that sense.
we have everybody here. There's nobody missing, really, because we have the full top 8, top 9 even. I don't know who's number 10 technically, but maybe they were in stage 1 and lost. Let me check.
Like some bollocks like Bait or something or Pain. There's also some stupid team
No, Tai
around
Lu. Tai Lu, I think are number 10. No, Pain. Sorry.
At the time of this event
Depends
starting, don't know.
At the time of this event starting, Tai Lu would have been VRS top 10, I think, and HLTV top 10 would have been Pain because they still are.
So September 28th. Right, 28th is when the stage 1 of this started, right?
Yeah.
Astralis at 10, Tai Lu at 14.
Oh,
it's weird.
Right. HLTV has Pain as number 10 on when the event started. And
yeah, but on HLTV ranking, but I'm talking VRS here because now that's
both of them.
That's what we use. But yeah,
I
just want to wrap this up with essentially addressing that this is the most stacked Swiss stage we've seen in a long time. Because not only do we have the top 8 teams that we all consider legit top 8 teams, like we've talked about who could possibly make a top 5 run. We talked about the tiers of teams in terms of the top 2, then this group of like 4, then again another 2. And like we talked about these sorts of teams. We have all of those 8. Mongols, Vitality, Maus, Spirit, Furia, G2, Falcons, Aurora. That's by HLTV ranking. We then also have our 2 teams that we're like, they're such big names, we need them to be good. In Na'Vi and FaZe, just in terms of the players they have on board, who they are. Those are the teams we really want to be playing at big events and be fighting for that top 10, top 8 sort of slots. And then we only really had like 6 spaces available for kind of randos in that sense. One of them is 3D Max, who are like just 11th in the world perennially, it seems at this point. Astralis, who are on the downturn, but still around that level. And then a Game Legion who's bad and 3 legit dogs. And the 3 legit dogs, not a single one is O2. Like, not a single one started O2. So that's been an incredible start to this event. These teams are legitimizing themselves. And that's why I've kind of put as a semi-joke in the scroll at the bottom. EPL ends Tier 1-2 system. Because clearly, all that separates these Tier 1 teams from Tier 2 teams is invites. It's just invites.
AZ-esque rejoices.
It's just invites. If you got the invites, you get to be by default top 15. If you never had the invites, you were never going to be top 15 until you did. So you had to do way more to prove yourself. And it's back to the same old system of the past. Basically, we've rebuilt the old system of, if you're a Tier 2 team, you need to basically be top 4 at a major to ever get invites again. Whereas if you started number 12, you're just 12 forever. It doesn't matter how many times you lose to teams way worse ranked than you. But yeah, let's get into something else. Let's get into the major invites. Whilst they haven't been officially made, they are technically. I've pretended they have been in the graphic, but they're not officially made. But they are locked in, as far as we're aware. Major invites are out. Quack, who made it?
I don't know the exact dates for when they need to go out. Today is the invitation date, so probably. But then the thing is, like, they invite stage 3 invites first, then stage 2, then stage 1. After all that comes confirmed, because in theory, a team could say no to playing the major. So there's that's why they do it that way. Yes, it's invite day today. Actually, late tonight European time. Everything was decided, nothing else was going to change, and the invites are out. And it's been a really exciting major race, to be honest, which Cock of the Week is going to relate to, somebody who disagrees with that. But, okay, stage 3 invites are about who you would expect. From Europe, we have Vitality, Spirit, Falcons, Maus, G2. From the Americas, we have Furia and Pain. And from Asia, we have the Mongols. This is what we expected. It's been, like, there's been... Maus and Aurora have been fighting about, and G2 have been fighting about that European stage 3 spot. And, you know, I think the Americas has been a bit here and there as well, where I think Legacy at one point were up to stage 3, but Pain were basically going to take it. Somebody said it in chat where, like, they've basically won this season by doing nothing, which is unfortunately the truth of kind of what you have to do in VRS in some cases, that you have to pick your fights. And I think Pain have done it quite well. Stage 2 invites. From Europe, we have Aurora, Na'Vi, Astralis, 3D Max, and Liquid. Liquid make it in. They even make the stage 2 invite. That's how good their Fissure one was. And from Americas, we have MABR and Passion USA, as they are now named. I didn't even think about that. I just said it. And from Asia, we have Tai Lu, off the back of their Fissure win earlier this year. And just about missing out on stage 2 is FaZe out of Europe. Quite notably, they were very much tussling with Liquid for the stage 1, stage 2 invite, and Liquid actually took it. It was looking like FaZe were going to take it, but Liquid were the ones who snagged it. And these are the exciting ones. This is the one that ran down to the wire. Gamer Legion, NIP, and Bait got locked in pretty much after Star Ladder. Perry Vision got locked in, I think, as of last week. And just last night, Fnatic won Fragadelphia, which is what gave them the final European spot. And from the Americas, we have Legacy, Imperial, NRG, M80, Fluxo, and Red Canids. Red Canids, we'll get to this, but they had a very interesting run as well. And very much as you might be able to tell, Brazil won this major qualification race. We have 7 Brazilian teams in the major and only 3 North American, despite having like a joint Americas ranking.
We're all shocked.
And finally,
we're shocked. North America's
we're all shocked. Yeah, and the Asian race, it was decided a couple of weeks ago. Linvision, the Huns, FlyQuest, and Rare Atom complete the stage 1 team list. So that's all 32. And we can sort of run through how it happened. Basically what's been happening this week to decide all of this. So as Fragadelphia started, there were 5 European teams in contention for that final major spot. It was 7, but 5 of them were at Fragadelphia, and it was basically in their hands to make the major. The other 2 were Gentlemates, who beat Virtus Pro to take the spot through their EPL Stage 1 performance. And the other was Virtus Pro. Very interesting how they could have made it in, but I'll get to that. The other ones were Fnatic, OG, 9, Ecstatic, and Saw. And it was basically Saw's major to lose at that point. They were, out of all 4 of these, they were the only team who didn't need to win Fragadelphia. They only needed to make about top 3, and they would basically be locked in. But they went out quite early. They went out to 9 even. In quite a thrilling game, very late at night, as I've heard. And it was about as exciting as it gets, because if Saw were the ones who basically had the major spot in their hands, they lost the game, got knocked out. That put them out of contention. What we had remaining were the exact 4 teams who were fighting for the final major spot, the 4 remaining. And all of them would miss if they came second or lower, would get in if they won. That's how exciting it was. So in the end, we got Fnatic versus OG, which I feel like is a bit unbalanced. I would probably say that Fnatic and OG were the top 2 for contention in that spot, but that's just the way the seeding shook out. And then we had 9 versus Ecstatic. Both games were great. Fnatic managed to win the one semifinal against OG, putting them out of the major. And 9 just about edged out Ecstatic to take the second final, or take the final spot. So yeah, that's how it all shook out. Final 5 mapper. Fnatic take it with Chekasmo as a stand-in. I don't know what it is, but Crims hasn't. They weren't in the Austin Major, no?
I don't remember.
I saw somebody say that this is the second time in like several years that Crims has missed an American event, which is weird. He should have no issues getting an American visa, but what do I know? That's how it all shook out. Incredibly exciting. Fnatic winning Frag put them in the major. And if they had lost that final, they would have been out, and 9 would have been in. And I'm actually, like, I would have loved to see 9 in the major, but I would also have been so pissed if Fuzi put in a 145 in Fragadelphia and the team he's supposed to be on would have qualified for the major instead. I would have been so pissed about that. Because Fuzi put in a 145 in 6 maps in Fragadelphia.
Yeah, Fuzi's a good AWPer. At this point, it's just a fact of life.
Very good.
Fuzi is a good AWPer.
Yeah.
It's a shame he's not on a good team.
Yep, he was supposed to be on 9, and if he was on there, I think they would have been Fnatic. They would have made the major. That stings. I think it stings for everybody involved. I think honestly, it stings for 9 as well. I'm sure they're, Modo. Props to him for still doing this good with this team to getting this close to the major. I think even 9 are feeling that Fuzi would have won that game if they were honest with themselves. But yeah, it's interesting how 9 made it that far, because their odds, and Fnatic at one point, Fnatic had a less than 3% chance to make the major, and they still made it. And 9 at one point had a 0.26% chance of making the major, and they were 1 map away. That's how close this race ran in Fragadelphia. But that's frag. It also decided some stuff for the Americas as well, but it was basically just American teams losing. Most notably, Wildcard lost. They would have needed a good placement to displace some of the some of the Brazilian teams. The issue is that there was the concurrent LAN, which sort of flew under the radar because it didn't actually most people didn't even
barely
notice.
noticed this. Like I saw the results basically. I was like, oh yeah, this happened.
Yeah, this was a LAN in Curitiba, Brazil, called Circuit X South America Season 1. It only showed up on HLTV like earlier in the week, and it was obviously announced with all the deadlines required, but I'm sure it was announced, as a lot of things are, just like in Portuguese, not on Twitter, and like just still counts, but like most of us wouldn't have noticed it. So Mischief actually didn't know this event was happening, and he had to redo the simulations adding this event, which changed a lot for the Americas. So all of the North American teams fighting in Philadelphia, and some of the South American teams also there, basically they could do a lot, but even after they got knocked out, they weren't really sure if they were in or out because of how this Brazilian event was going to shake out at the same time. So that was happening, and that was really interesting. Wildcard lost to OG. It was basically like do or die that game. Whoever loses would have missed a major, and it was very close, but Wildcard lost. Skin Rave had a mathematical chance, which they lost. Marsborn had a mathematical chance, which they lost when they got knocked out. I think we had one more. Getting Info as well had 0.5% or something, but they also lost out. The Brazilian teams that were there, which is most notable, is Sharks. They were in Philadelphia. Yep. I think they did fine. I think they made it up to the Ecstatic game, and that would have been a solid run. Chance they could have made it into the major depending on how the Circuit X event went, but they didn't manage to do it. Because we're going to move on to that now. First of all, the interesting thing about how Virtus Pro still could have made it into the major despite not playing ESL Pro League is that I think they have several wins against MIBR in their context window. And if MIBR had won this event, which they did, and Saw had won Fragadelphia, which would have blocked the other teams from overtaking Virtus Pro or something like that, if both of those things had happened, Virtus Pro's head-to-head score, like the games that they played against MIBR, would get upped in value by such a wide margin that Virtus Pro would have overtaken Gentlemates and made it back into the major just because MIBR won a LAN. And that was a possibility. When Saw got knocked out, it was impossible, but I was very much enjoying that. But yeah, MIBR win this. It's a solid event. I think you're going to talk about it more later. The team which most notably did really well here was Red Canids, because they were nowhere in the major race until they played Fergie Rush at the end of last weekend, and the Circuit X event. And they scored enough LAN wins. They scored 6 LAN wins. Each of those LAN wins was worth over 50 points. It's 50 points plus the whatever points they get from beating whatever opponent they beat. Let's say 15, just as a ballpark. So what's that? 65 times 3? That's how many points they gained from playing from 6 wins. 390 points. That's basically how much they got from these LANs, and that was enough to take them from nothing into the major, which is insane. I like that a lot, actually. It's basically it's a team of rejects from better Brazilian teams in a way, because Drop left MIBR. Story there was he left mutually and wanted to go to Red Canids. He's a caller, played really well here. You have Che Jesus, who was on Imperial. You have Kawes, who was on Pain. I think History as well. He was definitely on Fluxo, who maybe aren't better than Red Canids, but kind of a mainstay around there. And it's basically them and Venom Zero, and that team is going to be in the major, which
Venom
I think is
Zero. Man, I've been following. So for context, those of you who've not been that into like the prospects side of, firstly, my content, but also just the scene, Venom Zero has been around so long. He starts off on he's playing on these weird teams that no one really heard of. Then he played on Young Gods, the Gamer Legion Academy, the Godsend Academy. Right towards the start, I believe, of the sort of WePlay system. Yeah, season 4 is the one he plays.
He played with
Snow
when he was 13, 14, and he played with him then.
Yeah, and Venom Zero was like 15,
generation.
16 sort of age. Like he was maybe he was 17 at that point. He started competing as a 16-year-old, but super young. And then he plays a bit on Paketar, some unknown mixed team, ends up on Red Canids, and he's kind of just been the mainstay, the one player who hasn't been cut from Red Canids ever since. Because he's just been slowly getting better and like proving himself, time and time again. So I'm really excited to see him at the major, to be honest, because he was the best rated Red Canids player at this event, best rated Red Canids player in the grand final as well. Really sharp young aimer. And what makes me laugh is that Venom Zera and Cobra Zera, to me, are kind of like, they're like Spider-Man memes from across the planet. It's like young, hyper skilled riflers who are kind of like on iffy teams and could like be okay domestically, but never really compete internationally. But it is definitely worthy of your attention. Like if you ever watch one of their games, like pay attention to them. Pay attention to the Zeras of the world. Cobra Zera, Venom Zera. Yeah, just a cool little player. Super impactful at this event. Just ripping things up on T-side especially. So yeah, Venom Zera, a fun little player. But one that's been a frequent sort of character in the prospect scene if you paid enough attention.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very exciting with that race. Not much else changed. It was basically the Brazilian teams not failing. I think Odic with Coldzera had a spot, but Red Canids knocked them out of it, which was funny because he left Red Canids to play with Odic.
Yeah.
So poor Coldzera, I guess. The final event which decided anything this week was the ESN Fall Showdown, which was a Mongolian event. This was basically the race for the Asian major spots was basically only between Rare Atom and Chinggis Warriors for the final spot. The rest was basically decided. And the interesting thing about that race is they didn't play each other. It was more so that each of these regions were like, let's just throw together a shit ton of ranked lands regionally so our teams can do good. So we had XSE Pro League Shanghai. We also had ESN Fall Showdown in Ulaanbaatar. Month before that, we had an Extremes LAN qualifier in Ulaanbaatar, and we also had Chinese teams at the same time. But this week, the XSE Pro League wasn't really deciding anything. Like Rare Atom getting more points technically could have taken them past Chinggis Warriors, I think, even if Chinggis Warriors had won. But it was like, like par for the course. Nobody else at that event was going to make the major. The ESN Fall Showdown, it's interesting. I think it came down to be, I'm going to double check this with a points margin, but what was said is that the final ends up being between the Huns and Chinggis Warriors. The Huns were already locked in for the major, and Chinggis Warriors were not. And yeah, let's see. So they would have gained a lot of points here if Chinggis Warriors had won. And I'm just going to double check what the actual gap between Rare Atom and Chinggis Warriors was. It's not unrealistic. Like, Chinggis Warriors' chance of making the major died by losing to the Huns, which is like, for the sake of Mongolian pride, you could have lost that game. Like, you could have. Even if the Huns forfeited the game, they just said, we're going to forfeit the final because we think we want Chinggis Warriors to come to Budapest with us. But no, yeah, obviously not. That would have been kind of sucky as well. But yeah, that's what decided the major for all three of the major regions. This is all locked in. There's one more notable team which I would like to touch on, which is, I hate the fact that so much of this show recently has been about the disappointments of Heroic, but I will just note, at one point, a couple of weeks ago, they had a 97% chance of making the major. And they did not make the major.
Because they asked.
Just let that sink in. Yeah,
just garbage.
Some things were out of their control. Like that prediction was before Virtus Pro missed the ESL Pro League. It was before the Circuit X LAN was announced, which could have recalculated a lot of stuff. But it's bad. It's really bad, unfortunately. So yeah, please give me a good major cycle next season, Heroic, please.
What's amusing?
I'll buy more merch.
We just talked about Venom Zera. Cobra Zera was a key part of the story of the ESN Fall, or whatever it was called, ESN Fall Showdown, where he placed the grand final against Chinggis Warriors. And as you said, Chinggis Warriors, the chance they make the major if they beat the Huns. Petty ass move. Cobra Zera decides to drop his highest rated LAN performance of his career, basically. Just absolutely blows them up. drops a 1.9 rating. On the second map as well, 2.16 just to eliminate them entirely.
That's insane. His frag numbers are good, but it's not astronomical. That's like pure round swing. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's plus 10% round swing. He just rips them apart. He's a player where if you watch his aim, it kind of looks like he's got aimbot. He just looks like he's got aimbot. The way he like fucking twitches around, like he's so fucking sharp. Yeah, watch that POV if you're a POV demo watcher. If you're a demo enjoyer, go watch Cobra Zero on Mirage against Chinggis Warriors. Yeah, what a performance! Actually ridiculous, and just the way it plays out, maximum petty to go and eliminate your countrymen like that. But I love it. I absolutely love it. No quarter conceded in terms of, oh, maybe we'll let them in. Oh, they're super, like they're our team, they're our countrymen. Nah, fuck them. Smash them. Absolutely smash them. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant showing. Yeah, pretty fun sort of major conclusion, like in the end. It's not always the case, sometimes it's said and done and we don't have anything to talk about. This one was actually pretty cool. Like, we had a lot of little lands that contributed a lot. And sure, some of it feels a bit cheesy. Like, in terms of like, oh, we'll just invite all the Mongolians to get Mongolia in the major. Like, that aspect of it is disappointing. But then things like Frag, where it's like Europeans traveling abroad just to hash it out to see who gets to be the last man standing, get that final spot.
Amazing. Awesome. If you haven't seen the clip when Fnatic win the final and qualify, you should go on Twitter on Dust2US. Eminem's, I assume it was Jeff, filmed a video and posted it, and it's like, if you remember when Passion UA made the Shanghai major through the RMR, it's that same thing again. With like, you remember how Fear reacted, he does it again. Like, it's obviously they were so excited, and that's in front of a crowd. That's in front of a crowd in like not a big arena. But like, there's a crowd, there's a stage, there's everything. And man, I kind of wish I was there. I wish I. Sorry, I don't wish I lived in America.
It's not that deep.
Take that back.
But yeah, no, incredible scenes. Huge final day of qualification. Let's move on to something less positive. Let's talk about the death. Eventual. It just happened, but it feels like it's been slowly happening for a long time, unfortunately. It is the end of ESL Impact. ESL announced that they will be ending the support for it, pretty much killing the women's scene, although Impact was always more than just women's. The women's scene in general.
For the moment, it looks like that, yeah.
Yeah. It's a big loss. And it's one of those things where a lot of people immediately reacted like, you'd expect to. This is essentially a charity project. It doesn't make money.
Yep.
It has never reached that sort of growth, that viewership. It's never attracted the attention required for it to be a profitable endeavor. But esports aren't always profitable. And especially not in the short term, where you're talking about just, these teams playing Counter-Strike making you money. There are things that this provided that go beyond just the bottom line for ESL. It was a great place to test new talent. It was a proving ground for young coaches to go take their shot.
Yes.
For casters to get their first sort of exposure. It was a pretty not integral, but essentially like a pretty strong contributor to the circuit in that sense. So it is more than just the Counter-Strike wasn't profitable. Rip Bozo, It was more to the scene than just that. So it is a shame to see ESL Impact go. We used to be one of the only places you'd ever hear anyone talk about it as well. We'd always have our preseason moment talking about the rosters, which one's qualified, what we're excited for. Then we'd actually recap the LAN portions. But yeah, that kind of is the problem. Like, we're the only people talking about it. Not a lot of people are watching it. So yeah, rest in peace, Impact.
I have a lot to say about this. And I'm not going to say too much because I'll get political. And I don't want to do that on the show. But fucking hell, I was so pissed about this. But the thing is, okay, I've seen a lot of takes about this. Ignoring all the people who are absolute fucking dumbasses and don't know what they're talking about. There's a few people who are actually making reasonable takes. Number one, it was always a charity project. The point was that it's a charity project. It's money spent. It's money spent for a very large benefit, which doesn't make money. That was always the point. I don't think anybody's under the impression that ESL tried to do this to make money. I don't think ESL were under the impression they were doing this to make money. And for that reason, them citing the economic model as being unsustainable, my gut reaction was, of course, yes. It was always. It was supposed to be. It was supposed to not make money. It was supposed to bring all of these huge social benefits and all of these huge benefits to the players and the staff and the coaches who are able to work with this event circuit for the good of everybody, for the good of the entire Counter-Strike scene. That was the entire point. The entire point was this money you're not making back. Never. But then the thing is, it wasn't making money. It was losing money. The bigger issue here has nothing to do with Impact, honestly, because the bigger issue is ESL are just fucking bleeding money. Like, as much as like, look, there's the oil money, there's all that, there's that whole thing, and of course the impression of that is that that's endless. It's an infinite well of money that ESL's owners are perfectly happy just spending endlessly without making it back. And to a degree, I think that was true at a time. But times are sort of changing. The entire point of why you get these sort of things where you get big investment from the Middle East is that it's trying to venture out of a business which is probably eventually going to be, this is slightly political, eventually is going to be unsustainable. Fossil fuels are not going to be as profitable as they have been in the future. You need to branch away from that. That's as far as my policy is going to go. Part of that was trying to get into the esports business, trying to get into here, get a foothold, and that's where you can make money as like a national industry in decades to come. That's why they invest in ESL. That's why they are perfectly happy throwing money at unprofitable projects. The hope is still it's going to be profitable in the end. ESL are not profitable. They are losing so much money. And this is just one sign out of many that ESL keeps just sort of crumbling in a way. And Jeff has posted so much from Philadelphia. He had a take that I want to quote because I thought it was really good. Like, even if you do not care about ESL Impact whatsoever, you should care about the fact that this is one sign of many over time in recent history where ESL are just sort of, they're making cutbacks. Everything is becoming much smaller when it comes to ESL. It goes for a lot of esports companies, but in this case, we're talking about ESL. And that's an issue. That's an issue. And like, this is just another symptom of that, unfortunately. It doesn't have anything to do with what the Impact League was. I think they could have run it significantly better than they did. I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people were saying, well, obviously they're shutting this down. There's, look at the viewership figures. The final of all the seasons got like 5,000 views each, or 15,000 or whatever, peak viewership. Yeah, that's quite bad. Like that is quite bad. Viewership also just doesn't come from fucking nowhere. Like, that's your job to bring viewership, and that's, so they weren't doing that, and that's a shame. It was never the point. So there's yeah. What I can hope is that this opens up for other TOs to try to do stuff. While I don't think ESL were in any way blocking other TOs from doing it, because they took nothing out of their out of the schedule for women's CS was being taken up by Impact. It's not like they have the entire year was packed full with ESL Impact group stages and LANs. There have also been some other TOs showing up occasionally, but it just I hope this sort of opens up where other people see an investment opportunity and other people see that here's an opportunity to help. So it's not just the players, it's coaches, it's a lot of team staff, it's also a lot of production staff. Like, there's a lot of people who pretty much got their start in Impact. There's something I notice quite often is when I have to credit photographers for my articles. I recognize that, like, wow, okay, this photographer is an ESL Impact photographer, and now they're shooting at Pro League or Cologne or something like that. And that's really cool. There's a lot of behind the scenes staff, a lot of production staff, A lot of casters. Like I think some of the casters who have showed up now in ESL Pro League and like sort of started out here. You think about somebody like Lucy Lou, who has showed up in Tier 1 events over the past year and a half or so. That's basically because of Impact, because she had that like proving ground to show what she could do. So yeah, it's a huge loss, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I didn't want this to happen, and I was legitimately sad. And I really hope that something happens soon enough where we don't lose the talent which we have, where we don't lose the players, where the players don't, gut reaction, quit CS, go to school, get a regular job. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that something can happen quickly enough where like players can hold out, stay on their teams. I hope teams keep these teams. I think especially the upper ones like Big Equipa, NIP Impact, Furia FE, MIBR FE probably, FlyQuest Red. All of those, they can definitely afford to keep their teams and just compete in Tier 2 in whatever events their main team don't compete in. And I hope they keep doing that. I hope they can keep improving through those tournaments and through other mixed leagues as well. But I just hope something happens where like a lifeline is thrown out where, I talked like what you saw on Twitter and what some people were talking about, and some people I talked to about this early on, just when it got announced, was like, what are you gonna do now? And the answer was, I'll go work at the store. I'll go back to working as a store clerk, which is what I did before. And it's like, I hope not, because you're really talented and you should keep playing CS. So fucking yeah. Or a Valorant pivot. I guess that's better, but I hope not.
Would never want our glorious Counter-Strike players to be ever subjected to Valorant, a child game. It is an inferior product in pretty much every sense of that term. Like, the game inferior, the events inferior, the calendar inferior. Everything about it is worse as an esport. It's just Riot have been more willing to put money down in that sort of area. They've just committed to it in the way Valve never have, because Valve don't really put their thumb on the scale that often when it comes to esports and things like that, especially not in CS. I mean, their love child Dota does get some attention occasionally, but realistically, they're not that committed to controlling or influencing the Counter-Strike scene. So very unlikely.
It's gotten brought up a lot. It's gotten brought up a lot over this as well, where like Valve should do something about this. And over the years, we've heard so many times where like you could host a women's major, you could host something like a recurring circuit. I think they should. I think Valorant's actually proof of that working. Their Game Changers series was very successful. There they actually had talent from the Game Changers league was scouted for gender mixed teams playing at like a tier 2 level. Which is like, I don't know how that's played out in the end, but just the fact that orgs are willing to take that step is sort of a sign that at least that investment works for that. And yes, it is a charity investment. That's the point. I thought it was quite dumb from people who were justifying this by saying, well, this was always going to happen. They were losing money. That was the point. They were supposed to bring benefits which weren't necessarily profit. It's just the fact that ESL are in kind of dire straits and they can't afford to make charity projects like that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, eventually one day maybe I'll be allowed to pay for Counter-Strike. Like maybe there'll be one day a paid viewer model. But hey,
that's
for now, all the viewers in Counter-Strike are brokies or children, apparently, and no one wants to pay for anything. Yep. So here we are, despite the fact that I'm at this point, because Counter-Strike's an interesting game where, sure, we do have some regions with youth growth. Most regions, like Western especially, we're all fucking 20-something. I've been to events. Everyone's got a beer in their hand. Everyone's got a job. We can pay to watch Counter-Strike.
We can.
Especially if you told me like 720p and above is I have to have like some sort of subscription. I would be paying to watch CS.
I would. This is also something which I think is important, is that the grassroots and the lower levels should always be free or cheap, as they are in a lot of cases with traditional sports. Like going to see a Division 3 football game is €5. You can pay that.
Here it's a bit more, but it's still cheap as chips relative to big teams. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Division 3 women's is what I was saying, which is more like men's Division 5, like fifth sixth, seventh tier even.
Yeah, it'd be very, very, very low.
I'm talking local. I'm talking your own municipality. That's the level I'm talking about. It's €5.
Yeah, they are. They are like.
You can do that.
I think the local team here are like the 7th or 8th division of English football, which is pretty low.
Yeah.
I think a ticket's a tenner. Yeah, obviously that stuff should remain cheap, and that's why I'm thinking. You'd either have, because the ways people have had problems with this is like, oh, but how do you get? Because you don't want to end up in a system with like where the traditional sports where they've intentionally done this because they're pieces of shit, where you have to split yourself across so many different platforms. You have to pay like an exorbitant price to watch everything. It would make sense for a sort of conglomerate, sort of tier 1 CS streaming service, like where all these events that consider themselves big enough are under one roof. But that's a whole other can of worms that we'd have to get into.
Just as a side note, what I've heard this week is that has been on the cards, but the TOs don't want to do it. Not like recently, but over the years that's been something. But the TOs are the ones who don't want to do it. I don't see a reason why like traditional streaming companies couldn't get into this, but I just hope they do it in a model where like I'll be candid, I don't pay for watching football leagues because I want to watch Swedish games and I want to watch Premier League games and Champions League, and I cannot afford to pay 3 different €30 subscriptions which gives me the rights to every single game in each 3 of those leagues. I care about 1 game a week in each of those 3 leagues, and I can't pay 90 euros a month to watch 1 game a week or 3 games a week. I can't do that. So
no, it's much the same way.
I hope
like,
we get a
trying to watch
reasonable
American sports is impossible. Like to be a hardcore American sports fan, you need like $500 a year, and that's just impossible for like any individual sport. You need like that much money just to watch every game potentially, and it's an absurd model that we hope we don't fall into. But it's the sort of thing that we have to consider to get back on topic. When we're seeing this kind of thing happen, it is because there is a lack of actual paid viewership. And yes, as Sherb says, I love piracy. I watch the NFL illegally all the time. Come get me. I don't care. I don't pay for it because it's simply not worth it. I mean, I used to pay for Game Pass, but that was an absurd amount of money. So I just stopped because they charged way too much for what they were serving and for what you could actually physically consume. So hopefully we don't fall into that. But yes, we do need some sort of paid model. A GoTV collective model. Again, there's so many things that Valve getting involved and Valve building an actual esports branch would help. But again, a lot of it would be work off their own back to help other companies, really. They wouldn't make that much of a gain. Again, we're asking someone to put themselves on the line. Eventually, you could end up being very profitable off this model. But I think we can have a whole bloody podcast about that topic. Which, honestly, I might try to put together. But anyway.
Yeah. Final thing. Ask yourself, how much have you ever paid for your esports interest? How much do you like regularly pay? Good chance all of you are watching. The answer is $0 or a single-digit dollar amount.
Or it was, I bought 1 jersey for my favorite team, which is like, that doesn't really help anyone.
It does a lot. Jerseys are fucking expensive. It does a bit.
For one orc, but like, let's be real. Like the people you need to be making money in terms of when you're supporting them is like, you need to attend events for TOs to make money, for TOs to keep being able to put on events.
Yeah.
And they're the ones
big
who
TOs attend events. Attend events. Buy merch. Like merch does quite a bit for teams. Participate in these things and like, look, don't break the bank. Do what you can afford. But like, we're not going to survive if we don't start paying as viewers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
At some point, there's going to be a break point where we either stop growing or we just crash and burn because our viewers don't pay. It's also like, if you don't like Gamba sponsors, like if you don't like unlicensed gambling in your esports, you could start paying instead of sponsors paying. That's like, and I hope TOs make the push to make that happen soon because right now we don't really have it.
Yeah. To anyone who does like skin gambling, what if you didn't and then instead went to events?
The interesting thing about like, if you ask yourself why, like let's just say, I'll call them Evil Club. This is a random made up evil skin game, like very, very bad sponsor. Why do they sponsor an ESL event? Well, because they think they can pay 500 money to get enough viewership and get enough good like visibility, where a lot of viewers will instead pay 600 money to gamble on their site or whatever business they do. That's the issue. What hopefully at some point ESL could do is that those viewers could instead pay 500 money directly to ESL, and they still get that money. There's no middleman in the loop. That's the end goal, and that's what would be so good.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it right there. But yeah, goodbye ESL Impact.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's still something that exists afterwards, but for now it's looking pretty dire for that side of the scene. Let's get into our next topic, which is actually going to be this week's Cock of the Week. Everyone's favorite segment, the one segment with a little intro, a little something. Goodbye ESL Impact. Hello. Cock of the Week. Quack. Who do we have this time? I've not actually checked what the hell this tweet says.
We have AZS. I like AZS. He's a talented writer. I will just preface the entire segment with this. I'm not trying to absolutely slander the shit out of him. But he is, for lack of a better term, a Paris Major absolutist, maybe. I don't know. He really loved the Paris Major. He loves upsets. He loves when the big teams lose. And when the big teams just, don't win, I guess. His point here is, I think, a bad point, which is his response to the Fragadelphia race, where like his response here is to Mischief's tweet, where Mischief basically said, whoever wins Frag makes the major, whoever doesn't. And he said, remember the criticism that the RMR was bad because it was more important than the major for these teams. Now Fragadelphia is more important to the major than the major to EU teams. And I think that's dumb. First of all, I didn't think it was a bad thing that the RMR was more important than the major to teams. But I don't even need to take a stance here because I can just quote other people who I think were clever about this. I'm going to start with Mischief himself, where he basically said, all of it's the point that I read Mischief was making somewhere was how there's a difference between the RMR. I'm quoting this so horribly. I'll just do the other one, which I can actually quote directly. Colin, Carbon Dogma, Liquipedia editor, I think, and formerly of HLTV and does too. Like, the issue people had with the RMR was the relation to the best teams in attendance. Like, Vitality shouldn't care more about the RMR than the major itself. Because with the RMR format, they were genuinely worried that they could get upset and couldn't qualify because of the RMR or the MRQ or whatever the hell you want to call it, and however that worked. That was a genuine concern for some of the top teams who had to go through these qualifiers. With the current system, Vitality don't need to worry about that. Like, Vitality are qualified for the major by being in the biggest events and performing in the biggest events of the world. For a tier 2 team who their yearly revenue is smaller than what they'll make from being in a single major, who work their way up as like a new actor with new players, for them the major qualifier should be more important than the major itself, because that's how the system works. That's how the major works. Get to the major, you make huge ass money. And that's kind of the point with how that works. So this is very, very poorly structured here, but I think it's a dumb take.
I'm thrilled.
I just think it's a dumb take where the RMR was flawed. This is better than the RMR. And is anybody really upset that Fragadelphia ended up being such an important event? It ended up being such an exciting event. Is anybody really upset about that? Fragadelphia, I would say, deserve it. I would say them as the TO deserve it. I would say the crowd who show up to be at these events deserve that sort of level of action. I think it's really exciting, as you said, European teams flying across the globe to try to make the major. Amazing. And it's just so much more exciting than the RMR, where like you're either watching all of the top teams do exactly what they're supposed to, or they flop hard. Not exactly an exciting prospect. And you have a chance of like a weird upset, which is exciting and was sort of the good part about the RMR. We've kept the good part. We still have these exciting moments. And this is what I said when we got rid of the RMR as well. I said it on the show, where I feel like for this to work properly and to properly replace the RMR, us in media need to they really need to step up and sort of highlight when do these moments happen, what's the stakes
I remember this,
in all these events. Yeah, I've reiterated several times, and I think we've done such a good job. And this is where like people like Mischief, who actually sat down and ran the simulations, and Udknud on Twitter as well, really solid. HLTV does a really solid job. The fact that Jeff is there to film the winning moments and the losing moments for Fragadelphia, it's so good. I love this system so far, to be honest. And like, I have my qualms about like, there's some tournament organizers who don't exactly follow the regulations. I have my qualms about that. I have my qualms about some of the VRS quirks, as I think most people do.
Yeah, it's not a perfect system. I think everyone's admitted to that. There are things they'd want changed, fixed. There's things they want to be addressed. I think, you know, Bird from Sky had some very legitimate complaints about the way like certain TOs and teams seem to be like, oh, we've got a little back channel. We know this is going to be announced, so we're ready to quickly sign up to this open sign-up event that was randomly popped up in, fucking nowhere, Poland, you know. We knew about that ahead of time, so we got to sign up. Other teams who didn't have the same backdoor connection to a TO don't get to know about it. There are things like that are problems, but...
Technically, that's disallowed. That's why Mesa got stripped of their VRS status, because they were emailing teams beforehand saying, hey, do you want to go to our LAN? It's technically first come, first serve, but we're giving you the first come. So that's not allowed. So, you know, wow, that would really shake up the major race if, you know, it turns out that some LAN event did that and then they were in post stripped of their rank status. That would change the major invites.
Yeah, we don't know anyone's done this for sure. We have no evidence, but we do have one interview for members that expresses this concern. If you would like to become a member to listen to everything Mr. From Sky had to say, it's right here.
See, if you made this public, you could put Virtus Pro back in the major. The power you hold in your hands.
Stop right there. Stop right. We've said too much.
We've said too much already. No. Basically, I structured this very poorly. I think AZ's point is that there's nothing to be gained from the old system compared to what we have. The new system is overall an improvement. I think all of the teams who have qualified for the major wholeheartedly deserve it. I'm the kind of guy where I feel like there's always going to be more than 16 European teams who deserve to be at the major, but we have to pick 16. Yeah,
always. And just because we have to let these other regions have spots, like it's annoying, you know. Like, oh, good. Here you go, Asia and America. Here's some spots that we actually deserve, but there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. It used to be way worse charity cases. Like Team Wolf made a major. Like there's worse. I mean, Pro League used to have specific regional qualifiers that were the most BS like idea I've ever witnessed. Like
Katowice and Cologne did as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of regional BS that's been used. I mean, we still have OCE qualifiers for some events, COF Pro League, so we have to waste our time with Rooster, but it's better. It's getting better. Slowly.
They should just sign Rooster as a desk talent, because that's all they do anyway. But, I like this system. I think this is the best system we've had since... Look, okay, I was kind of fine with the RMR system as we had it before, but like... I like the system. This is a better version of the system we had in 2019. And I can't remember if we had an RMR for 2021. Maybe we did. But like with top 8 being invited, like we get the good teams there almost guaranteed. As long as they keep performing, we get them guaranteed there. It's even better in that sense, because before you used to have random top 8 invites where like they made a really good major run half a year prior. Now they're dog shit, but they're still invited into the top 16 and they go 0-3. Like that used to happen. Like, so we don't get that anymore. And we also get the chance for great upset runs, which really mean a lot to these smaller teams, and that I really like. The faults are nitpicks, to be honest. The faults are small, and that's a lot better than what you could say for the RMRs and for the MRQs. So I think AZS is off base here. And that's why he's Cock of the Week.
His main point of sort of complaint, if checking the responses, seems to be that he doesn't like seeing the same teams playing every event, and that's why this current system with this big VRS and the invites and how it works is bad. And I get why in principle he believes that, because I can generally agree. Like, if I only see the same teams ever playing events ever, like eternally, it would be frustrating and annoying. And I have made the complaint that we do have sort of this sort of system where, like, you have to prove yourself to the ends of the earth just to overtake fucking 3D Max in the rankings, despite 3D Max at every event losing to 3 teams who are kind of mid, you know? Every event seems they're capable of losing to everyone, yet they'll never lose their true ranking because they're just there now. They'll get the invite, they'll get another chance, they'll get to win a game against FaZe, and boom, there we go, they're at the next one again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are still problems. But we are in a far more interesting place when it comes to major qualification. We're in a far more stable place for major qualification in terms of teams that have been good all year don't have to do some extra bollocks just to make the major. You know, the major should be a reflection of the scene. And having Vitality miss because they lost 2 BO1s to some shitters and then a decider to someone else through a crappy little tournament Valve threw together would be silly. So no, I think he's wrong to be pissed off about this system in that way, but there are still flaws.
Yeah. Reason why I picked him is actually what I forgot, but I saw it now that I reread Carbon's tweet. AZ always likes to fight for the fairy tale stories. He always likes to fight for, like, he loved the Paris Major. I think he was on record, like, with all that stuff with Into the Breach and Monty and all these teams sort of cheesing their way into playoffs, 9 making the major in the first place with a 3-0 run in the Armor. He loved that stuff. He thought it was amazing to sort of see the established teams sort of, you know, falter a bit and show weakness. The thing is that, like, the system we have right now is very good for those very same fairy tale stories. And as Carbon put it, for the weakest teams, qualifying for the major should be as or more important than whatever performance they give at the major itself. These are the exact fairy tale storylines you are proclaiming to be fighting for. So he's cock of the week because he's a little bit hypocritical here.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
We are now getting into the Retake Games. After a decent cock, not the greatest cock, but a decent cock, let's get into it. Quacker, what Retake game do you have for me this week?
I have hot or cold. I actually didn't change it. I was going to do a hot or cold anyway, but I didn't change anything from the past notes. Didn't actually pick anybody yet, so I'm going to do this live on the air right now. Let me just consider. Yeah. All right. I have one.
Okay.
So for those, you know the format. Briefly for the viewers, he gets 15 questions where he basically just says something. I have a team or a player who I've picked as, like, the one to guess. He gives me stuff, anything from mentioning another player, another team, facial hair, baldness, regions and stuff, and I give him a score 0 to 100 on each answer, depending on how close he is. So, get started. What's your first question?
You know what? Let's keep it nice and specific. Let's go national team.
Ooh. That's a good pick. Not score-wise, but that's a really good pick because you... 15.
15. So, yeah, not really related.
You can interpret that several ways, but yeah, not super related, no.
Okay. HLTV top 20.
Oh, I'll have to. I think that's a straight up 55.
55. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the bottom half of it.
Again, that's up to a lot of interpretation.
Yeah. Sweden.
$50, I think.
That doesn't really eliminate.
You could be further away.
Team. Doesn't really eliminate the team I had in mind, to be honest. Because they're quite Swedish now. I was thinking about Heroic, and they're quite Swedish now, but they've not been Swedish particularly all time. They've been very Danish, if anything.
I sort of clocked that you were thinking Heroic there.
Yeah, but they are currently Swedish as hell. Like, they're technically a Swedish flag team with 3 Swedes. So 50 could make sense just in terms of the, recency of it. Swedes would have... I mean, technically Denmark's next to Sweden, and Astralis has always been Danish, so you could go down that route as well, which is, of course, very unhelpful. But to say, yeah, Astralis would be 100, surely on top 20, because when are they not? Ever. HLTV top 20. Like, so I'd probably eliminate them from that conversation. Okay. Gamer Legion.
Z. I genuinely think that might be a Z. I'll give it a 2 just for good measure.
Gamer
2.
Legion's a 2. Fudge. So it could be a player that's never had a damn thing to do with Gamer Legion in any context.
Yeah, it's a hard stretch to connect them.
They've never even played the team, basically. Like, maybe once in an official.
Okay. Could have played them.
Could have played them, yeah, but we're talking like, this is not exactly their fucking rival, is it? This is not a team who's going to match up a lot.
No, who would be Gamer Legion's rival? They play... I think Gamer Legion
like they play 3D Max like all the time.
Yes, GL 3D Max, 100%.
Like, they should play each other every week at this point.
Yeah.
Fnatic were once Swedish, but they were too Swedish, surely, for that rating. Like, they were Swedish pride, basically, for like a decade.
GL 3D Max is just the new NIPG2, which we used to get 24/7.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to start using characteristics. Black hair. Like, you know what I mean. It's so dark brown, you might as well call it black. That kind of dark.
35.
All right, so clearly much lighter hair.
You're a third the way there.
Black jerseys.
$85, I think.
Okay. 85. I can eliminate VP. They've basically never played in black. Played in white or in orange. Legacy. Have you ever had Swedes involved with you, Legacy? No, you haven't. You had Stewie 2K as a stand-in once. It's the only exception to Brazil, so probably not you. You won an event in Sweden or something? Why don't you breathe in Sweden? Is that why Quack would give you a 50 on that?
They're there right now.
Really.
Unless they flew home, they're in Sweden right now.
Yeah, technically, but like, yeah. Oh, you would do that, wouldn't you? You would do that as well, wouldn't you?
Would I?
You actually would. You actually would. NIP playing black. It could be like a wrinkle.
Asking black jersey doesn't feel like it narrows it down. You can eliminate Mouse and Vitality pretty much.
I already eliminated them a while ago. Like, why would top 20 have them so low? Like, I'm ignoring the top 10 because, again, why would they be so low on the top 20? Most of the top 10 have been top 20 teams for like 5 years. It'd make no sense. 3D Max have nothing to do with Sweden. Aside from being there for Pro League, which...
Yeah, 3D Max have had a lot of different national rosters. I don't think they've ever had a Swedish.
No, they've had Finnish. But I don't think they've
It's hard to track,
Swedes.
genuinely.
Oh, wait, 3D Max on HLTV don't even have the Finnish rosters involved. If you look at their all-time rosters. There's not even the Finnish teams. I'm sure Wikipedia will have.
HLTV has them listed on different rosters, I think. There's a bunch of different 3D Max team entities, like team pages.
Really?
Yeah, really inconvenient. It's
CSGO. Here we go. The Natu.
The French one has one, and then the Finnish one has a separate one, and then the German one has a third one. But then I know there's I know they had Danish players as well.
Yeah, they had Danish players at one point. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Besides the point.
Beard.
5.
So, clean-shaven dude. I'm still going back to the... Okay, FaZe Clan.
99.
All right, great. I was right. Okay. So, a guy with lighter hair on FaZe Clan, twists.
Wrong. But I'll give you a score here. 56.
What? Is this going to be Neo off the bench somehow? Let me see. What has he got to do with Sweden? Besides having coached a Swede, maybe at some point. Rivalries with Sweden, I guess. Olofmeister has been on the bench forever. There's only one cunt on this. Rain's not even got that light coloured hair. 35. How does that get?
Think about what 35 might mean on that scale.
Basically blonde. There's no blondes on this team. Have there ever been blondes on this team? Rops. He's not been on the team since 2024, though. He's not really blonde either. Elige was on the team this year. He's bald, though. That could be... Yeah, that could work. He doesn't really play with any Swedes, though. I don't see what he has to do with Sweden. Nothing to do with Sweden in Elige's past, as far as I can remember. Nah, this is bad bait.
How many have you done? You've done 9.
Okay, let's go Brokey next.
Like a 75.
What? So no hair isn't the answer either, because he's got really short hair. This makes no sense. All right, Rain. Fuck it.
Rain is 100. Congratulations. You got it. Rain is a bit ginger. He's a bit ginger. You asked about lightness. Like when you ask black hair. I'd say that's a 35.
He's got brown hair.
It's lighter than a 50. It's on the ginger side.
I'll take. All right.
Look, I'll walk you through it because I thought some of them were interesting. National team 15. Rain was very good at the time. Like when we had actual like top level national teams, when we had like the World Cup where Get Right and Forrest would actually play. So he definitely played for Norway. He also played for
he played for London Conspiracy, which was basically just Norwegians, wasn't it?
And LGB. Yeah, they were fully Norwegian there. On both those teams. So he played there. It's not all recently. He's quite the opposite. He's very much known for being like one of the first successful international guys. HLTV top 20. I say 55 is fair. He's had 3 appearances. Some of them high, some of them low. He's not there now. He has been there.
I meant the teams, the ranking of teams.
I'd still say that's fair because he is. FaZe are in the middle. FaZe are in the middle. So. FaZe are in the middle there, so I think
Currently,
you did fine.
Yes.
55.
Currently, yes. It's like some things are all time, and then there's some things are just like, yeah, right now.
This is the fun part of the game. Sweden is a 50 because he's had quite a bunch of Swedish teammates like Dennis Michaelele.
He had Dennis Michaelele. He had Olof. Yeah.
Olof, very notably, yeah, and also just like general proximity as well. Like, yep. Robban also notably. Game Legion is 2. He's never played with Game Legion. I think the 2. I literally only put the 2 because he's played with Michaelele, who I think he's played there. Like that's how tenuous the connection was. And they don't even play each other that often. I don't think FaZe and Game Legion. Black hair again. That's the hair color. Black jerseys. FaZe have pretty much always had a black jersey, so I felt like 85 was pretty strong. But I wasn't sure about LGB and London Conspiracy, and I think G2 at the time would have had a white jersey when he played there.
No, it was black. It was dark grey black, but it was black, pretty much.
Okay. Kingwin, I think. Kingwin had black jerseys. Anyway, yeah. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
beard 5. I don't remember Rain ever having a beard of any kind. But I left a 5 for ambiguity. Maybe he had a mustache or something. Face Clan 99. I think.
Really.
Face Clan is 99. Honestly, if it was Twists or Brokey, Brokey would maybe have been a 98, 97, and Twists would have been a 92 because they're known for the team. But it's not like I can also connect Twists to Liquid quite strongly. Brokey is more of a new guy. Rain is the 99. He's probably the only player in the world who would be 99 for Face Clan, I think. If I'm playing this game. Twists 56 is just a strong connection as a teammate. When I'm looking at it, I maybe could have put him a bit higher, but they also didn't play together for a long time. And I don't really consider Rain and Twists to be like that connected in my mind. Brokey stronger because most of Brokey's career is played with Rain. And then you got Rain. So that's nice.
Cool.
Right. I thought that was fair. The hair color, you focus too much on the hair color.
Well, yes. For I thought it was useful. Turns out it was not.
Yeah.
Right. We have some recurring segments to get to. Some more recurring segments to get to. First of which will be the Eternal Shuffle. Which, as we all know, literally never ends.
Yes.
It's not allowed to, I think. Legally, it's just not allowed to end. So, Quack, what's happened this time?
I have some fun ones. The first one is that FaZe cut Rain. That's official. But I mostly put this in because this is where we can talk about the debacle.
Yeah.
What do you make? I think we touched on the rain removal last week because it was already rumored. But what do you make of Rain twist for Rain? What do you make of that specifically?
I mean, I've said this before. I have no problem with it. The only way adding twists could make FaZe worse, I thought, would be if he came in for Frozen. So in that sense, It's an upgrade. The problem is, it's just a weird situation in terms of, well, the fact that we now have Rain playing again because of a confusing substitute rule or something. What's actually going on with that?
The invite for ESL Pro League was based on the July ranking, which had the following roster of Kerrigan, Kerrigan, Frozen, Rain, Simple, Elish, because that's what played in the major. And when you've obviously already cut Simple to add back Brokey, but that just because you're adding him back doesn't really change anything. The invite, you have to have 3 out of 5 of the invited team to play in the major or to play in the event. You've already cut Simple. You've just cut Elish. Now you're cutting Rain as well. You can't keep that invite. So here's something I'd like to ask. So FaZe have submitted a roster which is technically not eligible for ESL Pro League, but ESL have also seen this roster and they've accepted this on the roster, on like the sign up. They've managed to get them to the event. Didn't bat an eye at this until at some point later when I think Bobinski pointed this out on Twitter. And sort of murmuring started spreading, and then Striker tweeted about it. Messi also tweeted about it. Suddenly ESL did something. I think Messi also literally said, like, your tweet caused this. Like Bob Babinski was maybe the first person who saw this. But I'll just ask you, okay, so with the situation, you have a roster submission which wasn't allowed, which ESL didn't notice and didn't enforce. Whose fault is it that this happened? If you have to, whose responsibility was it to make sure this doesn't happen, in your opinion?
Technically, everyone involved, but when you come to the bottom line, it has to kind of be ESL. It's their tournament. They have to enforce the VRS rules properly. Like, sure, FaZe should also be aware of what the hell the rules are, but the person who has to take the most sort of blame for this, I think, has to be ESL, because they accepted this. It should have been, they submit the roster, ESL say, no, you idiots, you can't play with this team. We didn't invite this team. And then FaZe go, oh shit, sorry, can we do this? And they're like, yes. Instead, it was no one noticed a damn thing until Bob got involved. So,
yeah, the thing, that's sort of my take as well, which is like, in both cases, I think it's incompetence. I don't think it's malice. FaZe had to they basically, if nothing else, they had to get Twists out of Liquid before ESL Pro League, so Liquid could play games without him and they could put him on the major roster. Because if they made this move after the deadline for major invites, so they weren't on the VRS, they would have possibly been in quite a bit of trouble with trying to sign Twists. So they had to do that before ESL Pro League, so they had to do it before the roster deadline, etc. I don't think they were aware of the fact that this removes their invite. If they were, they probably would have just temporarily substituted twists in for Jacob, or literally just didn't play with twists. Them playing with twists now doesn't change anything. No invites depend on this. Like nothing. No, the major doesn't depend on this because they're going to register him as a sub anyway. Nothing matters with him playing ESL Pro League aside from maybe they want playtime for him. So
Yeah.
So if they knew about this, they wouldn't have gone about it this way. I've seen different takes here. I've seen some people, some clever people, say that FaZe are 100% responsible for this, and ESL shouldn't have caught this. In my opinion, it's absolutely ESL's responsibility that their event and the invites, like the teams they invite to attend the event, are TOR compliant. Like they're compliant with the tournament operation rules. So I've seen different takes on this, but it's interesting. What do you think about the fact that for the remainder of ESL Pro League, Jacob is the player going out instead of Twists, where Rain is playing temporarily?
It's an awkward thing, but it's like what I need from this team, if I'm on this team, or if I'm running this team, or if I'm a fan, is I need this Twists Frozen duo to work. And honestly, yes, it's not ideal to not be getting reps with your actual final roster. You just need those two to make sense, you know? You don't need everything else. So it's not ideal. I think it's going to cause a bit of, not necessarily confusion, but it's going to cause some sort of mixed feelings, I assume, in the ranks of like, what if this goes super well? Like, and I have to just like no longer play with this guy? Like, this is just weird. I get that. I get how it can be an issue. It's just for me, as long as the how do you put this? As long as the part that's actually complicated, the part that's you've tried to upgrade, the problem you're trying to solve gets addressed, which was you had too many aggressive riflers who weren't playing that well, were kind of role players, like just needed sorting out, and that mess needed adjusting. As long as your solution for that problem works, okay, fine.
Yeah,
pretty
fair.
simply.
Have just got some more context I didn't have. So, Asylum, stop typing your comment. AA says in chat, FaZe had the old roster submitted but showed up with a new lineup, it seems. In that case, it's 100% FaZe's fault.
Yeah, if they show up
because
with the wrong roster, that's on them.
Yeah, because ESL couldn't have known until they showed up in that case. ESL had no way of knowing. So in that case, then fuck yeah. So I guess in that case, it actually might be malicious because maybe that's the reason they didn't say who was leaving FaZe, because they wanted to keep it ambiguous and hope to cheese their way into ESL Pro League. And 100% FaZe's fault. 100% FaZe's fault. Stop typing your comment, Asylum. Yes. This is not misinformation. Yes, I'm correcting myself right here. And in that case, I agree fully. It's 100% FaZe's fault. ESL could have had no way of avoiding this. I didn't know that. Now I know that. Anyway. Next move. Do you remember PewDiePie's meme review? That was fun. This is a rumor.
No.
That's the show where Elon Musk and Justin Roiland showed up and laughed at a dead deer in a pool. Cultural moment. Rumor. This one is. Big have reportedly signed Grix. And I might as well take this one off at the same time. Grix's Gun 5 loan has run out. And he's back on a Rogue expansion. Very brief loan, it felt like.
No, it was very brief, but okay. This would be, I think, a talent upgrade, but overall, probably not that crazy. I think, because Grix is a really strong strong AWPer, rather. I think he's one of the big talents of the scene right now that we need to see unlocked and playing on a decent team. So finally we see it, and I'm hyped to watch. It's gonna be fragging. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Let's see if it happens. I don't know. Big there was a rumor that Jane was joining, and then the question mark was like, who's coming in? And they have J-Bone on contract. J-boners.
Jibon.
Would you rather see Grix or J-bone in the big main team?
Oh, right now, Grix. I'm not gonna get too stupid with it. We're done with J-boner week. Like that was last week or the week before, whatever it was. Right now, I'm being sensible, and no, I'd rather see Grix getting that test. I mean, I want to see J-bone, keep working, keep grinding, keep performing.
Yeah.
For now, it feels a bit premature.
You see, on the back of the can, it says if you have a J-boner that long, you should contact you should go to the hospital.
It does indeed.
Amcal have made a move, and it's once again Travis survives. He is as resilient as a cockroach. Stinix has saved Travis's life by being worse than him, and Idis Balance has left because there is always an op upgrade available for Idis Balance, and that in this case that's Moon, and they've also brought in Kenzie.
It's pretty good, to be honest. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, Moon is a talented little guy. He's not crazy. He's not like a must sign. Everyone must sign this guy. Oh my god, he's so good type AWPer. But he's pretty damn good from what I've watched. So, yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah. Travis survives because when he joined this team, when he stayed on the team to keep the VRS core when they brought in Nafany and Chiron, I think. Now he stayed on to keep the VRS core because Stinix was worse than him. And they wanted to replace Stinix. I can only assume if Travis was the worst player, Kenzie would have replaced him instead. But yeah, he's here. Moon, I get the feeling, is a little bit like what Khan. Some people made Khan out to be good, when I think maybe they should have been talking about Moon instead. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping.
I still think Khan's okay. It's just Moon is I think a better AWPer. AWP first.
Yeah.
AWPer.
Yep. Fair. Next move. BC Game have benched Prime Taps. Supposedly this was his own wish for personal reasons, but he's out, which is mostly exciting because it opens up the door for BC Game to sign somebody good next to Simple. Not that Prime Taps is bad, but like they can make a big signing.
Okay, to be honest. Like, yeah, he's been all right for this team.
Yeah, very good.
So no, this is a dub for Simple fans everywhere. Like, oh my god, Simple gets to play with someone else that might be really, really good. Awesome. So yeah, no, I get the hype. I get why this is this has got everyone excited. Hopefully
people are saying maybe sign Rain, maybe sign Electronic, and I feel like that sort of goes against what we hoped what would happen.
Rain would not be a bad idea.
I mean, if you can find that level, but I think you'd rather take a break and come back stronger later.
I'm sure he would, but I'm just saying, in terms of moves you can make, taking a guy who's actually played Tier 1, has played a decent level in Tier 1, he was maybe inconsistent, but hey, he's still Rain. Like, he's gonna, if you give him some chances to shine on a Tier 2 team, you set him up for fights a bit more, you give him, some liberties, he's gonna give you a 110, 111, like, easily.
Yeah. I'm excited about this one. I'm probably meeting them in like a couple of weeks. Foot Academy. Wonder, Dest, Brillo, Hume, and Rendy, coached by Relax. Now, okay, you've had your opinions on Dest, you've had your opinions on Brillo, I think you've also had your opinions on Wonder. As an academy team, for a pretty sizable org, gonna get the chance to play some European stuff, some qualifiers, etc. What do you think about this academy team?
Is it a legal requirement that every academy project that starts in the last sort of 18 months must sign Wonder? Why is he on every single one? And at what point do people go, maybe he's not that good? If all he does is bounce from academy to academy. Like, it's so strange to me seeing this sort of roster announcement, because I'm like, again? You? Why is it always you? You know what I mean? Like, why is it always you? It's like, something goes wrong in the world, and just look over at the CIA. Like, why is it always you? Somehow. This Wonder is the CIA of academies. Like, he's just always there. As soon as you peel back a layer, like, oh, there he is. Like, it's just strange at this point. Rendy, I don't have much of a take on. Like his last 3 months, he's played 2 maps and he's a 155. Like he may be the greatest player to have ever lived. He definitely isn't. But like you know what I mean. Like I don't know anything about this guy. He's barely played any real CS. You know, he played in some Ukrainian teams. Algo. Like it's not really much.
Navi
to go
Junior
off of.
at one point.
Yeah, at some point. These are some deep pulls and then some Swedes that I've endlessly watched or been subjected to in some cases. I'm okay with it overall. Like I think Rendy's interesting, Hume's interesting. Not the biggest guest guy. I think that's been established. But hey, they could develop some of these guys into something. So in terms of as Foot trying to start an academy, in terms of what they're trying to do here, I think they've chosen some decent players and then taken some sure things. I think in terms of these guys can play on a team in tier 2.
Yeah.
/3, /4, whatever you call it.
I don't know much about Hume either. I don't know much about Rendy, but the Swedes, I know all 3 of them can develop into something. I'm not trying to say that all of them are future major winners, but I think all 3 have at times shown good stuff, either mechanically or tactically. I think they have a sound head on them. I really like the fact they sort of build the core around Brillo, because Brillo is like, he's solid tactically. Like the game you watched, it was weird. Obviously, that was a team not practicing, but like he's solid tactically. He's sort of held back by the fact he wanted to finish his uni degree first, which is dumb career move maybe, but much more secure. And he's so clever. Like genuinely, every time I've talked to him, I'm kind of struck by the fact that, like, yeah, you are a natural in-game leader. You are like a natural like team leader, and that it's at this level, it's kind of rare that you get players like that in a way. So yeah, that I really like, and that's something I like about this team. We have another academy move. The new Klim has appeared, and G2 think it's Unimi.
Yeah. Junimi is interesting because I've watched him play, and mechanically he is pretty good. Like, there's no two ways about it. He's a mechanically sound player. Just might be a dumb fuck from everything I've heard. So, pros and cons. I think this could work pretty well for G2 Ares, to be honest. Not saying I'm putting a stamp of approval, guarantee success, but as far as academies making moves, signing players, I want them to sign players that I think are talented. I think Jimmy is talented. Let's do it.
Yeah. Great. Reason Gaming have dropped their team. This got a lot of attention. The team they had was that Polish roster, which ENS thought were definitely cheating. And they had them recently. I'll be honest. Sometimes I say these things, and fucking CS2 News posts about it afterwards. Even if I say I don't know anything about the source, but I just want to mention it. Somebody said that they were maybe caught cheating at Birch, either Birch or Dracula, whichever one they attended. And recently they've now dropped the team shortly after that. So do with that information what you will. And if somebody can find like an actual source on that would be great, because I just heard it in the Discord server. Yeah, they're gone. We're gonna have to wait a bit more for Reason Gaming stickers to make a comeback into the game. That's a good shout. Sign Outer Circle. That would honestly be a good move for Reason Gaming at the moment if they can afford them. Less excited if they're actually doing the thing where they're playing with Taz and Snacks. I haven't checked if they do that, but they were both listed.
They're not doing it yet.
That's a threat. They were listed as, I think there was CCT invite, or like a playoff invite, and they were listed with that roster, unfortunately.
Oh,
or maybe it was Galaxy Battle. I'm gonna have to check if they still are. X Inner Circle. They should just rename their HTTP team to Outer Circle. Okay. Yeah. I really hope. In one way, I hope they do it. In another way, I really hope they don't, because that sucks. Yeah, no, okay. They were listed with Taz, Snacks, Hades, K, Grashog, Kylar, and then also Grashog as coach. but it looks like they forfeited the game. I'm assuming this was during Birch Cup. So, phew. Right, finally, Trick 10-minute change. It is Nikki B coming in from Prestige. And who did he replace? I think the person who last left was... I don't know. I don't know. Valde? I didn't even know Valde wasn't on Trick anymore.
Yeah. He did get cut or bench himself. I can't remember what it was.
We should have talked about that. What do you think about that? Nikki B for Valde.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thing that happened, I guess. I don't.
Never
I'm
heard
really
about this guy.
Bought into Nikki B. Like he's on Prestige, and Prestige. Like I've had some people ask me questions about what I thought about Prestige, and every time I've gone, I haven't had time to watch anything from them because they've never played anything that significant, and I never had the inkling that they'd be that good. So I don't have much of a take on Prestige. Like there's only so many hours in the day. Unfortunately, it's one of those sorts of things.
So we turn to the other prospects series in the Counter-Strike scene, where Nikki B was listed as number 48, one spot ahead of Klim on HLTV's top 50 prospects.
Fucking algorithm generic, fucking generated ass.
Of season 1, 2025. All right.
Still shit. Still wrong.
He was, that's the only place I've seen his name. I've never cared about Prestige whatsoever, but that's the only place I've seen his name even mentioned. So, to be fair, Klim didn't play that much quality stuff in the spring season.
Don't care. Prospect scouting is not about what your fucking algorithm generates. It's about watching fucking games.
They watched...
Don't fucking tell me they watched all 50 of those players. Came at the end of it, Klim 48. Fuck right off.
49th, actually.
What blind man fucking watched those demos and came out with that?
Nero and Lewis Mira, I think, or maybe it was
Sorry,
Lucas.
lads, you're both fucking blind.
Nikki has a 138 in the spring season.
Watched Nikki B. You're fucking blind.
Nikki B has a 138 in the spring season.
What?
In 5 events. Klim has a
LAN only
120.
or some shit? Like, what are you talking about?
A lot of Danish. Klim has a. Let me see the exact map count. Klim has 23 maps. At 120. Nikki B has 20 maps at 138. A lot of it is domestic, but still there. There is European Pro League as well.
Don't care. I'm sorry.
They're very in the spring season. They're very comparable. They both played European Pro League 2nd division. I think maybe even the same division. And Nikki B had a 126. Klim had a 115.
Don't care. A blind man can see.
I'm not making a case here. I'm just saying what their case is. Anyway, that's about it. Speaking of
what?
You like to introduce the segment, so I was just setting you up.
I didn't realize you were ending the Eternal Shuffle there.
Yeah, no, that's the shuffle. That's
you just
all
went
the moves.
Speaking of, and I was like, what? Is he here? Is that the weird lump in my bed? No, that's just dirty clothes that I hid.
Is the time being in the room with us right now?
Yeah. Right, on to prospects of the week. And we do have, yes, some obvious and some less obvious picks. Actually, no, they're both fucking obvious as hell. Yeah, prospects of the week. Quack, lead us off. Who have you taken?
Dawi. Davu. I still don't know how to say it. Davu. I think it's the right way.
Hard, just Davu.
Davu. Self-explanatory, dude. He is... I forget how old he is. He's 17, maybe. Maybe turned 18 now. And he's stacking up mechanically in ESL Pro League against some very solid players. Against some very solid teams and players. So even just like raw talent-wise, the fact he has now had a competitive series against Spirit and beat Mongos. We're talking about Senzu and Donk in those 2 series. Those are the, like, I'm not saying it's a 1-for-1 matchup. The fact you can even compete in that series shows that you are pretty damn good at the game. So again, like the Spirit series overall, maybe it wasn't that good, but they still had that one map. They still had that overall here and there. Yeah, that's solid. Mongos win, especially He is very high rated this week, and it's well deserved, I would say. Future tier 1 talent, as we have known for quite some time. Which is like the biggest flex of running this show is like anytime somebody says this guy's going to be the next big thing, it's like we had a podcast episode about this 3 months ago. 100%.
I mean, Davu's been in the last 2 prospect elections, and in both cases lost. One of which was fair enough, Klim, very exciting. One of which was Alcaren. Members, you still haven't recovered any respect from that moment. You lost a lot of it from me. I'm not sure what the fuck was wrong with you that day, but you all decided Alcaren was more interesting than Texi, Davu, and whoever the fourth was. So thanks for forcing me to make that episode. But yes, next election is currently ongoing. So if you want to be a member and correct past wrongs or just make an better informed decision, the poll is up. And actually, Davu is on there again, alongside a couple other guys who missed out from last month's rather. It was roughly a month ago. And a new fourth, I believe. I can't remember who, though.
Davu, Mini, Demon, Texi.
Yeah, it's a combination of people who missed out on past ones. So, yeah. That's it. I do think, yeah, Vondas, there was a similar attitude from other people. I think it was Munster as well. Coach Munster, who said, I want you to watch Alcaren because I think he's a noob. I was like, why? Why would you make me do that? Nicky B is not on the poll. Fucking Nicky B.
So if Klim is the next Zaiwu, what is Nicky B? The next one? Next get,
Pick
right?
a Danish rifle, I don't know. They're all the same.
Starts watching Nicky B. Get right-esque.
I highly doubt it. But yeah. Could I be wrong about Nicky B? Of course. Am I? Probably not. I'm rarely wrong.
Or HLTV?
Probably. Because they made a show about prospects and didn't ask me to be on it, so I'm protesting all of their picks.
I didn't realize that their prospect report was titled like Prospects Report, and the series name, like the series of articles, is called Prospects.
I'm just like,
dude,
that's my
like,
IP.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, and then I saw one of these short news headlines, and it was like, like it was like walk through the latest, like the first edition of the Prospect series. The first season of the Prospects series in latest Come Here podcast episode. I was like, I was wholeheartedly, when I clicked the link, I was like, you didn't tell me you were on Come Here. That's pretty cool. That's a cool podcast. And then I see
it already has been, but yeah, it would have been a second appearance.
Okay, yeah, true. I remember that. But like, it was like Nero and Lucas M, and I'm like, what? Are you guys talking about prospects?
Who the fuck is? Yeah.
Jesus, yeah. You have to, like, at this point you have to change the series name.
I ain't changing shit. They can fuck themselves. I've been calling it that since 2021. Look it up. When does the term prospects become the general term used in Counter-Strike when it comes to young up-and-coming players? When does it happen? Because it wasn't on the HLTV top 20s. They didn't call them choose your prospect. It was like choose your next something else.
One to watch.
I
think they called it a
that's what they used to call
and
it for years.
Now it's bold prediction, I think.
Yeah. And then they start a show prospects. I'm like, did I do that? No.
Oh,
no, it's not my show.
Imagine, the article comes out, in January when like all the top 20s are being announced, and it's just like the first one, number 20. They have picked not their bold prediction, not their one to watch. They've picked their prospects of the year.
The thing is, Nero, London liver right now, I believe, somewhere in London. I'm gonna find you. If he does that,
yeah,
it would be.
We know where he's going to be.
Honestly, be elite trolling. It would be elite trolling.
It would be.
I have to give him that.
Yeah, we know where he's going to be January 10th.
Oh, and I'll be there too.
And I'll be there too. Is this our official announcement? We're going to HLTV Awards.
Yeah, so we will be in attendance at HLTV Awards. If you're there and you want, for some reason, us in a picture, whatever goes in your bank, man, whatever goes in your bank, that's you. That's fair. Some people call it the vault. Some people call it the bank.
Do you know? I went to a work thing the other month, and somebody, like, the first thing that happens when somebody shows up, when I show up, is somebody comes up to me and says, "Do you want to? Can I take a picture with you?" And I'm like, "I'm that famous? Seriously?" And then afterwards, they introduce themselves, and I'm like, "I know you, but like, I didn't know who you are." Like, B-Trumps as well. B-Trumps is gonna be there as well.
Let's go.
Yes. I want to do a live episode, or like an in-person episode of Retake the Week from my Airbnb.
Yeah, I mean, I think my girlfriend and I are staying in a hotel, but the hotel has a business center type thing, so we might be able to set up there as well. They said in the perks of booking is you get access to it for an hour. And I was like, if we combined our hours,
yeah,
we could do it in there, or we could do it from the Airbnb if that's more practical in the end. But yeah, we were planning on doing prospects. Fucking hell, I've got it on the brain now. Retake the Week live. So yeah. Yeah, we actually, yeah. First, the major's happening. I'm at the major, but yeah, I guess.
I'm not at the major. Fuck
but,
that.
So yeah, no, we will be trying to do a live episode from Belgrade during the HLTV Awards, just about logistics, because I'm staying Saturday night. So I don't know when my Sunday flight back would be. You know, all that good stuff. Plus, also, we'd have to just be like, girlfriends, amuse yourselves.
Go away.
We're going to talk about Counter-Strike for 2 hours.
Oh god, that's going to be awkward for them. They can sit in the cuck chair, I think, while we do this.
Just watch, just awkwardly, just stare at us. Be our first time with a live audience. An audience that reacts to nothing because they have no clue what's going on.
Oh,
it'll be terrible.
That's gonna be
but
fun.
In the best way possible.
That's gonna be great.
If we do get it done.
Yeah, hopefully.
But all right. Yeah, that's the show. Remember to slander and harass Nero for stealing prospects. I mean, it might turn out that that's been the go-to term on HLTV for like 20 years, and I've just never seen it. But I'm just saying, cultural impact right here. Cultural impact here.
I'm searching the term prospects right now. No, it's all team names. It's all team names or like interviews.
Obviously. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed. If you're watching the VOD, leave a comment telling us your thoughts on why my IP was stolen. Like, what's the reason for it? And yeah, those of you who are live joined us. Decent numbers considering there are games going on. Thank you very much. Yeah, sub for more. Members get access to a lot more stuff, so become a member, please. And we'll see you